Hey everyone, Space Fetus here. Today I thought it would be good, since it's sort of the judging period for the Halloween short story competition on the forums, just to read them all with you guys basically. So I thought that would be a bit of fun. We do that so people don't have to go out their way to read them. If they don't want to, they can listen to it in the background or something. Or if you just want to skip straight to the end for the results, that's also totally fine. I will also be using this video to do a Facebook Cubic Castles competition. So the way this is going to work is that throughout the video there are going to be little screenshots of realms. Now these realms are my realms. They're all in Space Fetus's realms. So if you go to Tinkerworld and you type in space, it will teleport you to the area where all my realms are. Basically, the first there'll be 5 of them. You've just got to go over to the Facebook page, comment on the particular post involved, the 5 realm names, and then a random person will win 20,000 qubits. Also, in these locations, in these realms, I will be hiding trash cans. So the first 5 people to find the trash cans in the 5 different realms will also win some Halloween goodies. So that will be a bit of fun. Now I know this is quite a quiet bit, so I know my voice is quite quiet and I can't seem to do much about that, so you're just going to want to turn your volume right up just so you can hear, otherwise you might miss out. Without further ado, let's get on with it. Okay, it's time to do some spooky stories. So, are you ready? Here we go. So our first is called The Trashy Poem by B.B. Blake. Games are fun. Cubic Castles is best. What holiday do you like? Halloween stands out from the rest. That is it. It's pretty good. I like it. 4 lines. Short and sweet. There's a name for that, but I don't remember. The next one is by Kibitza. Ding dong. The doorbell rung. It's the 31st. Halloween has come. An assortment mix of kids and devils, holding baskets by the caskets in their joyful revel. The door creaked open and I peeked to see children in their deluded fantasies, clad in armour, quite the charmer. Trick or treat, said the pumpkin farmer. Back in I rushed, like a bull in a china shop. If I won't be back, I'd be in for the chop. Spirit lamps, sub-vamps, realm stamps and stuff. Orb webs, cobwebs, man, this is tough. They're rapping and tapping their toes as I compose this Halloween poem that sounds like a prose. Not to fear, I've got enough candy for all. Move along, kiddos, gotta answer a call. That was really good, actually. I really enjoyed that. Good job. What have we got next? We're scrolling. D.S. Berrypaw. In the world of Cubic Castles, there is only one little lobby, and the other copies of it, but that's not the point. This is where our story begins. One marvellous day in the lobby, Graceful Thunder, Grey Coral King, and D.S. Berrypaw were all looking for a realm. Not just any realm, but Space Fetus's realm. He has many of them, but the one they were looking for was special. Anyways, they gave up on that, and only then did they realise that the whole lobby was empty. Grey Coral King was surprised by this, as it's normally full of people buying items, selling junk, or saying their goodbyes. And as he said this, he browsed through the forums, showing Graceful Thunder and D.S. Berrypaw all the people who just can't quit a game and keep their mouth shut. Grey had a big opinion on those people, but we won't get into that. Graceful Thunder began to look around. She noticed that there were no items thrown across the ground, as there usually was. This was odd. Were the 3 of them missing something? D.S. Berrypaw looked at the time to see it was only 7 p.m, so players must still be online. Graceful Thunder punched him in the arm, said, "Boop," and then pointed beside the time at the date, October 31st. "It's Halloween, guys!" Grey Coral King was astonished. "It's been years since I've dressed up." Graceful Thunder looked at Grey, threw him some imp clothes, and replaced her typical green wig with her recently bought orange grand wig. Of course, D.S. Berrypaw had already packed his lunch, warp foods, extra bumpers, and a black cat set. They were off. Grey Coral King thought that this was weird. "My pants are too tight, my horns are penetrating my brain, and I can't see a thing through these glasses on." Grey forgot to take off his Coke bottle glasses from the night before. Graceful Thunder didn't like all the negativity coming from one being, we were going to get so much free candy, you won't be able to wear that outfit until Easter's anyway. She was right. Halloween really does give loads of candy. Grey wanted it all right at that moment. They continued along the path of realms, but even though the trio knocked on all the doors, no one would answer. They recognised Sir Pixel's door, and when he answered, Grey Coral King got excited. "Finally! Someone has noticed us! Where is everyone?" Sir Pixel thought this was amusing. "Have you not heard? Space has given us another event. Everyone is either there or in Penn's Yard Rentals selling off the new items from the pack."
D.S. Berrypaw just sat there. He didn't want to admit that they never thought to check there. He had known it was quite dead, so he overlooked it. Pixel was already dressed in a zombie costume, so he decided to join them. So now 3 became 4, and they continued their walk. They came to a giant mushroom patch in front of a mansion, except the mushrooms were blue. This wasn't right. Deep mushrooms are only found in cavern mines. Had someone gone to hundreds of cavern mines collecting all the deep mushrooms? And now 4 walked up the long path towards the mansion, only to have a girl in a maid's outfit answer the door. Her tag on her shirt had Therese on it. Perhaps it had been wiped away. Grey Coral King asked her for candy, and Therese looked confused. Graceful Thunder booped him aside. Trick or treat! Therese still looked confused. D.S. Berrypaw realised she didn't own the house. He then asked where the owner might be. Therese informed them that he was out the back, so Grey Coral King, D.S. Berrypaw, Graceful Thunder, and Sir Pixel stepped down the stairs and walked around the giant house. In the backyard they noticed a giant flower garden and a building in the back. The blue mushrooms seemed to extend out this way, but there were about 47 that were red. Where the two colours of mushrooms met up, there was a red piece of cloth on the ground. Beside it, a black cubie. Wait, what? A black cubie? This story doesn't make sense, because cubies are... And then it turned around. In its left hand, a paintbrush with blue on its tip, and in its right hand, a collection of Halloween decos. Could this be? Was this? No. It can't be. All 4 of our players were stunned. This must be Space Feeders. Once he realised these were regular players, Space sped to his cloak, slid it on, and disappeared. Underneath his cloak were bundles of candy, the best kind of candy this was, and Grey Coral King knew it. He ran over to it as fast as he could and shoved it in a bag. Where he got this bag, you ask? Even me, the narrator, have no idea. And this is how their day ended. All 4 of them walked to Sir Pixel's house and settled down for the night. What a great sleepover that was. Little did they know they'd just witnessed Space Feeders naked. Or was it they didn't care? We will never know.
Wow. The shame of being caught naked. It's too much for me to bear. I can't handle it. Whatever will I do? I guess I'll just have to hope that no one notices too much, because that's not good. Anyway, moving on. Honey Bomb, titled Tragic Night. Once upon a time, all QB wore fashioned Halloween costume and got ready for Halloween party. The mayor announced the QB King, Sir Qbert, will make surprise for everyone. He wore a ghost costume and gathered all QBs to town centre. He said, "Follow me." He jumped out and ran away. Seems he was using spells. Some candies appeared instantly. Everyone just got candies. QB A. Wait, no wearables? QB B. Oh, we didn't realise that. When these QBs were discussing, the Spookyzilla had gone already. But something weird happened on Halloween. Honey Bomb, our main character, he dreamed a nightmare. Something weird, just licking QB Head. And some of QB Head said, "Don't eat the candy of Spookyzilla." The weird thing saw Honey Bomb when he was trying to escape. The shadows crawling and caught his legs. Honey Bomb, no, no way. He screamed and awoken. He realised that was a nightmare. He goes walking on the street. Suddenly, he had seen an old house that signed, "Do not enter." He couldn't control himself and walked inside the old house. Seemed the house has enchanted. Honey Bomb, hello? Anybody? The door quickly closed itself with high sound and the smoke spilled out. Honey Bomb sniffed it and fainted. When he was awoken again, the shadow started talking. "What's the matter? Didn't you see the sign? Originally I can spare you, but why are you coming? Oh, you arrived here anyway. Let me tell you the Halloween story. I killed your neighbour, your friends, your families, and used them to make candies. Don't you know by now? I am the Spookyzilla. Oh wait, the real Spookyzilla died already." Evil laughs. "Yes, I pretended and threw the candies to you guys, and you guys eat in your nation, and you will be the next sweet candy. Mwahahaha." The shadow walked near the Honey Bomb and threw itself into bubbling cauldron. He was groaning, and when he almost died, he had seen the Bunnyzilla, the Treezilla, and the beloved QB King Sir Qbert skulls, whereas the grey ghost costume was burned. Wow. That was pretty hardcore. Okay. Chief 12 has written Humble Halloween. The month of October was here. All QBs were braced for the Halloween update. Though there was still almost a month left, the QBs were really excited. However, Cosmic Cow was nowhere to be seen, and Sir Q wasn't as active too. And then there was Space Fetus. He wasn't an admin, so there's absolutely no responsibility of getting the Halloween update imposed on him. but he was dejected that he would not be able to manage to be online after the 20th of October. He had some really important work to do in his real life. He desperately waited for the update to come, in at least testing phase, so that he could try and finish the Halloween event build before time and be relieved later. He ran to the town centre to find a new portal, a portal which led to a large mansion. It was somehow locked only to the mods and admins, and he managed to go through. Up the tallest corner of the mansion, Space could hear two people talking, but he couldn't figure out who they were. The realm was muted, and he sneaked to the top, only to find out that the voices belonged to none other than Cosmic Cow and Sir Qbert. Cosmic hadn't vanished. Sir Q had forced him into that mansion. Seemed Cosmic wanted to introduce weapons in the game, and dresses that were damn too scary. Sir Q felt they weren't appropriate for the young Cubies, and so they were fighting upon the weapon update since the beginning of September, and had completely forgotten about the Halloween update. Space Feeders tried to remind them, but the mansion was muted, and there was nothing he could do to get inside. He tried to shout out, but all in vain. Meanwhile, as Chief 12 was roaming around the lobby, he saw something strange. The door to Cubic Mum's safe tips. It was red, and when he entered, he saw a face that was known to be popular. Grey Malk. So Grey was Cubic Mum. Seriously? Now he was terrified. He was dizzy and he fell down. When he woke up, he was in a sewer. All he could see there was a telephone and an empty inventory of his. Empty? E.M.P.T.Y quadruple question mark? What happened to the glorious sportsmobile? The 20,000 warps he had? Nope, all gone. He went near the telephone, and to his surprise he could use it. Super Extreme came to help him, and he got out of the place after knowing that Freestar Anonymous Freestar had password hacked and scammed him and his realms. How unsafe he felt, but he still had the 25k he had just received as event prize, so he wasn't that depressed. But he was still wondering how Grey could have been Cubic Mum all along. So he thought that the other official realms may have something good. So he went to the Cubic jail, but there too he found a door in the dungeon, deep red in colour, just like previous ones, and then another one in the town centre. And inside these, when he entered, there was Candy Rain, and the reveal of that same face, Grey Malk. Now, I'm tired. Same faces everywhere. Nope, no more. I had to investigate, so I went to the town centre again, and I spotted that same door. The same one which Fetus had happened to enter, but now I saw Space Fetus coming out. I asked him for help about the matter. We both knew Halloween was approaching, but this isn't how you spook the hell out of a man. We both joined hands, though different intentions, to find out what was going on. We saw Cosmic come out frustrated. He didn't talk to any of us, he just ran away. Space tried to follow him as he went on to a realm named the Cosmic Hotel. When we entered, it was empty. We got banned. When we tried to enter again, voila! It was a full-fledged hotel, ready with the snap of a finger. Something strange was going on in Cosmic's head. We could see guns and wine hanging out of his pumpkin backpack, and sucralose candies in his pumpkin basket. We thought he was gonna sell Cubic Castles away? With a shocked face, we quietly followed as he talked to Beck Houseman on the phone. Space did a quick search about him, and indeed, he was no one else but the CEO of PopCap Inc., come to buy Cubic Castles on behalf of EA and make it into a commercial adults game. The worst fear of all Cubies had come true. They would now be taken over by a monarch called Electronic Arts and be poor forever. And so we immediately called Sir Q, but to our surprise, what answered was an advanced answering machine that responded to our questions as well. Like, really? Now we had two problems to investigate. So what we did was we used a shrink wand on Cosmic and then went and closed him in a chest. One down, one to go. When we tracked down Sir Q, we reached his office tower, but this time it was different. There was a dark bottomless stamp over there, and below the surface I could see what seemed to be a dungeon. We held our breaths and jumped. When we entered, we saw a magnificent display of mirrors. Some pretty useless mirrors, but Space Fetus knew what this was. He immediately summoned G-Dog, who had just returned for Halloween time. Tried some portions from the new Halloween pack on the mirror, and they worked. Now the mirror showed reflections of all the people who were once really popular, or maybe now as well. We could see 8 people in the mirrors. Space Fetus, who was right there, Grey Malk, who was trapped in a warp and cloak chain, and her name, a location changed every second. It felt as if she had been hidden off her location from Qbert's database. But why? We could see the screen labelled Just Meg, really black, and on the other mirror we saw Sir Pixel and Jadabug were talking together when a zombie came and bit them. We saw Grey Coral King, DS Berrypaw and Graceful Thunder turn into vampires, and at the last large mirror we saw Cosmic Cow, who had been removed from the cage by a few skeletons and killed. No. Full stop. Cosmic's ghost was now visible on the screen, and we were really scared. We decoded to click on the deep red emergency button labelled as Call Mabs. Mabs immediately arrived, and after investigating for a whole day, he told us that Sir Q was hiding inside there, behind Cosmic's mirror, but not in QB form, but in a form that was really hard to believe. When we took off the mirror, we saw a secret passage, which led to a preview room of all the new upcoming Halloween items. I grabbed the wizard's wand, Space Fetus grabbed a broom, while Mabs took a pitchfork. But horror had come before Cosmic came. Beck Houseman took the deal papers and signed them. We heard a large crack as the overworld fell apart. Then we heard the dim voice of an old and dying man. We rushed inside the chambers, which suddenly appeared in the secret place of Sir Q's. He seemed to be dying, and in a faint voice, Guy said, "Zombies are taking over cubic castles. Skeletons are widespread everywhere. Do something. Save the cubic world." But we knew nothing. He soon became trapped inside a painting named Cubic Grandfather. Beck was taking over. He pointed to a place. There was a heavy pressure plate there. It was labelled Emergency Reset Button. Since no one less was OT be allowed in the chambers, only if Sir Q and Cosmic stood together on the plate could cubic castles be reset of the original alpha version. We were scared, but we had no other option. We had to do it. We stood together on the pressure plate, and boom, the place vanished. Beck Houseman was now dead. All cubies were poor and at level 0, but Cubic Castles was restored to its former period of peace and glory, when there was no scammers and everyone trusted each other. Though we missed all the cool things that were brought to us in recent updates, we were happy that EA never even tried to take over Cubic Castles, as an important personality of theirs was now dead. Grey Malk, who was working as a puppet of Beck all this time, was freed. Cosmic Cow and Sir Q-Birth resurrected and brought on all updates, quickly gave free candy to all cubies, and all of them lived happily, but still scared, ever after. I quite enjoyed that story, actually. That was quite a good one. The Tales of the Mysterious Halloween Event by star Nick star. Long time ago in the history of Cubic Castles, there is an incident happened at 31st of October, which is Halloween, the day where cubies travel from realms to realms that owns by Sir Q-Birth to trick or treat for rare candies. One of the rarest candy is called as the Ultimate Candy. No one had crafted it before, not even after collecting that much candies from realms. The Ultimate Candy was known as the rarest one, and cost almost 2,000 cubits. Although cubies know the cost of that candy, no one still be able to craft it. After a few years, we're back again on the 31st of October for another celebration of Cubic Halloween. This year's Halloween, they've added some new events. But what the cubies didn't know was the mysterious behind this year's Halloween. So there is a story of this year's Halloween adventure with the 3 cubies. 3 of the cubies are Sir Pixel, Joystick and Mihawk. They are going for trick-or-treating around Sir Q-Birth's realms and get the Ultimate Candy. First, they gathered at the lobby, which is a place where cubies can search for realms and enter it. The first clue they had to find the candies was sent to them inside a letter. Sir Pixel opened the letter. The letter was written a clue, and I shall now read it in Sir Pixel's voice. "I am here in your darkest fear. I am floating on the night. Here is my meeting. Come meet me." The hint was darker sphere, floating and meeting, so they check out the Cubic Town Centre, which is 4 meeting areas around the realm. Cubic Town Centre is dark now. Maybe that's the darkness sphere mentioned on the clue, Joystick exclaimed. Oh, I'm sorry, let me do that again. Cubic Town Centre is dark now. Maybe that's the darkest sphere mentioned on the clue. That's my perfect French accent. I apologise, my accents are not good. Also, don't forget about the meeting, that got mentioned too, said Mihawk, who I do not know the accent for. "This could be the place, but where is the door?" Sir Pixel exclaimed. Joystick then yelled, "I found it! It's right here!" Mihawk and Sir Pixel rushed over to Joystick. They then opened the doors that Joystick had found, but somehow they got shrink and die right when they opened the door. Right after that, they got another letter written, "Trick or treat. It seemed like you had got frick by me. 2 doors, 1 candy. Choose it wisely, or get tricked by me," Sir Pixel exclaimed. 2 doors, 1 candy. Choose it wisely, or get tricked by me," Sir Pixel exclaimed. "Oh, so that door is a trick," Mihawk replied. "Yep, we've been tricked." They continued the search of the door of the Cubic Town Centre. They can't seem to be having any ideas on where the door will be, so they look back at the clues given.
It says here in darker sphere, and it also mentions floating on the night, which means the darkness sphere might be dark.
Sir Pixel exclaimed. Floating meeting? Oh, I got it. It might be the secret meeting area that is under the pond, Mihawk exclaimed. They then went up to the meeting area that can be found under the pond and saw candies floating around the door. That must be the door. Let's go grab some candy, said Joystick. They each got candy, but they still haven't solved the mystery yet. Next clue is given to them in another letter. In the letter, it written the second clue. I am a realm that are full of greens. I am a place that you have to pass, obstacles that stop you and candies that admire you.
A place full of green and obstacles. Oh, it's a green course it meant,
Sir Pixel exclaimed. After getting that clue, they then went to the green course and completed the course, passing obstacles and get the candy that are there to be collected. After getting these 2 candies, they just need one more to complete the set and craft the ultimate candy. The third clue had appeared in another letter, but this time it's covered with blood. Sir Pixel opens the letter carefully, and inside there was nothing but a knife covered with blood of a Cubie. They slowly take the knife out. The blood on the knife was dried up, but it's still disgusting. Another letter flew past, and inside there's a picture of a little girl. That girl looks familiar, but they can't recognise that girl that were in the picture. Seems like that picture was taken years ago, and she was holding a red balloon in that picture. The back of the photo, there is the date where the photo was taken. It was the 31st of the 10th, 1950. That photo is so old that they can't seem to know who was that girl. They took 30 minutes to search who is the girl in the photo, but still they can't recognise her. It was 12 a.m, and the sky is getting darker. Clouds are covering the moon, blocking the moonlight to be shine. Winds are getting cold and windy, and out of nowhere they hear a girl shouting for help. The voice is getting louder and louder as they hear it, and suddenly the lights went off. The wind stops and the voice disappears. But they saw a balloon floating next to them. It was the same balloon as the one in the picture.
Isn't that the red balloon from the photo?
Sir Pixel asked. Yeah, you're right, Mihawk exclaimed. Then they heard a voice whispering through their ears. Happy Halloween! The voice which they heard is actually the little girl's soul. That little girl was known as Sir Cubeth's beloved daughter. After that, 3 of them was never be seen. Some say they have lost into the forest. Some exclaim that they died while in the adventure. And that is why no one has ever crafted the ultimate candy. Do not risk your lives just for Cubits. Sir Pixel, Mihawk and Joystick just risked their own lives solving this mystery, but no one will ever know the truth behind Cubic Castle's Halloween celebration. Is it real? Is it fake? Find the answers and solve the puzzles by following the clues that are given. Survive with the truth or die with your soul. It's your own decision to make. While you're reading this story, your room door opens by itself. You went to check and you realise the dead body of a little girl is laying down in front of your door with bloods around. The end. Well, that sure was scary. Very, very scary. Elemental God has written a non-labelled story. And here we go. It is cold and dark night in the world of Cubic Castles. The devs have been preparing for the Halloween night at the end of the month, so everything is a bit more spooky. At one of the realms, there walks a small slime around, just playing around with everyone and being his funny self like always. Tongue out face. Brackets, so that's me. He felt like being spooky at the moment, so he just went to a realm with spooky decorations, already set up, and was talking to some people, while he suddenly felt a chill. He looks back and suddenly he saw it. Mannequins with zombie masks, Frankenstein's mask, and all sorts of other Halloween clothing come to life. The little slime couldn't believe his eyes. The other people with what the slime was talking ran away to their own realms to hide there, while the small slime instead walked towards the lively mannequins. He tried to talk to them, but they didn't talk back, to the slime's disappointment. But he wasn't done yet. He noted the realm's name and then went to his own realm to get his knife and went back. There he tried to cut in the mannequins some holes to let them talk, but they now could move their mouths only. There wasn't coming any sound from. So the little slime went back and tried to find a way to get them to talk. He fought and fought, and then it struck him. In the Cubic store there are shout packs that make the Cubies able to shout his words. It could maybe be a bit loud, but it would work. So the little slime brought some shout packs and went back again. Back at the realm, he went to the lively mannequins and explained they had to sit easy and let him do this job to try and get it to work. So the mannequins went to sit and let the slime do his work. The slime then threw some of his slime in the mannequins, so the mannequins would be partly him, and could be able to use shouts. Well, the slime hoped that at least, and suddenly the mannequins talked. The mannequins thanked the little slime for helping them out with talking, and they then went to talk with the slime for hours and hours, till they suddenly turned back into normal mannequins. Sadly for Slime, but deep down he knew that he would be able to talk forever with them. Then in the chat popped a message up. Owner joined the realm. And then suddenly the slime hears a scream. So he looks to the screaming owner that is totally horrified with all the costumes and outfits that all fell over, had holes cut in them, and looked like they were puking slime. So the slime backed up slowly and left the realm.
The end. Imagine, the poor owner comes back and you've hacked up all his mannequins and filled them with slime.
You must think you're an awful, awful, awful person, /slime. Okay, what we got next? Read that one. On to page 2. Okay. Tester #1. Don't read this story. Only the most bravest of cubies in cubic castles will find the courage to do so. Please be warned, don't pee your pants. Well, I feel like if I do pee my pants, it's your fault. I have to read it, so I don't have much choice. So you knew that, which means it's your fault if I pee my pants. It's quite a long one. Let's have a go. The Halloween night at the Cubic Sons mansion. The deep calm river mirrored the night sky above, each tree now deciduous, shedding dull-coloured leaves. They murmured a quiet whisper as wind presses against them, dragging them to an unknown place. With that, all the cubies of cubic castles were chatting in a euphoric tone upon the lobby's lush grass, and like the young boy Thomas Cubicson, who was all alone on this fine day, the melancholy grew as he was isolated in his bedroom. 'Twas Halloween night at the Cubicsons' mansion. The building raised up to pierce through the clouds and tower over any cubie that happened to be staring at it. It truly sent a message that they were quite a prosperous family. Thomas, the family's only son, hung from the side of his bed. He was draped with a soft, cuddly blanket to keep him warm while he was playing with his toys alone, until later, smash! The impact of a plate smashing down on the floor triggered his curiosity. Soon he was lured downstairs to the scullery room. His eyes met a scullery maid that appeared in the distance. It seemed that she was carrying a tower of plates that were about to tilt over a bit. As each step he took applied pressure on the wooden floor below, a loud creak would follow. "Jesus, you scared the hell out of me," the maid said, sighing in relief, discovering it wasn't his parents. "You cheeky rascal." As the words came out of her mouth, she pinched his chubby rose cheeks. "How did she do that? She's carrying a stack of plates. Is she, got 3 arms? Thomas's mouth stretched into a wide grin. "Tommy, don't tell your mother and father about this, please." She then took the rusty handle of a broom and collected the smithereens of the broken porcelain plates lying on the ground. Finally, in the end, the dead remains of the plate were placed inside a bin. Her figure crouched down to his level. "Welp, Tommy, it was nice to see you." And after he was sent right off to his parents, assisted by the maid. Thomas dropped off at the door and started knocking at the smooth mahogany. "Hey-o, Mummy, Daddy." There was no reason, not a response. There was for no reason, not a response, I apologise. So he asked the butler right next door, which when he stepped out in the hallway, the creaking of the butler's room coincidentally could be heard. "Thomas, what are you doing out of your room?" shouted Greyten, his butler, in a furious voice. "Mummy and Daddy won't respond." "Then," said Thomas with a faint tear in his eyes. As soon as he said that, Greyten took pity, and his facial expression changed from Thomas' recognition. "Sorry to break the news to you, but haven't you heard about them missing a few days ago, you poor thing? We'll take care of you. But for now, you'll have to go off to your tutor." "Isn't it the middle of the night?" This is strange. Who gets tutored in the middle of the night and has maids with 3 arms? His tutor arrived at the front door after a while of waiting. The door slammed open in an unnatural fashion, and in the background was the rain lashing against his black umbrella in a rhythmic beat. His spine had great posture. With that, he always dressed in vintage black suit jacket that always seemed to give off the message of a very strict teacher. "Hello, dear Thomas. Nice to see you again," he said, shaking his minuscule hand. "Let's get started, should we? Butler, bring my blackboard," his tutor declared out loud while clapping his hands, but no noticeable sound came from anything in the house. "Greyten," Thomas shouted, but there was not a response. "Ugh, dear Lord, go get that useless butler of yours. He's quite horrible at his job." Not wanting to disobey, Thomas started searching each room, from the dining hall to toilet. Nothing. So he returned back to his tutor to hear the message. Upon entering the living room, the only thing greeting him were the still figures of his furniture. "Mummy, Daddy, Grayton, anybody?" The innocent voice of poor Thomas echoed against the walls, completely destroying the newfound tranquillity. Till the clock struck 8 o'clock, his surroundings appeared a dark void, until slight surprising of screeching bangs resonated along with a collaboration of red sparks that appeared. "Bang! Surprise!" announced the whole of his parents, along with the tutor and Grayton. "Hey, due to you not experiencing Halloween at all this year, we made a great surprise, kiddo," his tutor said with a bit of a giggle in between his words. Thomas ran over and hugged all of them for a bit, with all of his pressure, until he asked one simple question. "Hey, where's the scullery maid?" There was an awkward silence that filled throughout the room, until they finally answered, "We don't have a scullery maid."
Oh! So the scullery maid was a ghost all along, with 3 arms. That would explain why she had 3 arms. Normal scullery maids don't have enough arms to carry
Stacks of plates and grab people's cheeks. So that makes more sense. That was good. I like how it was like, oh, it's all a joke, and then it was like, oh, it wasn't. I'm getting very parched throat here, but I'm going to sacrifice my voice for everyone here. This next one is by Silverdash. It looks like it could be a poem. What lies in the forest? In the deep forest mine, down a crooked path, lived a crooked lady and a wicked cat. In the deep forest mine, I had lost the way. I was afraid. I came up to a crooked-looking house. What should I do? I raised my shaky hand to knock upon the crooked door. The door crept ajar. I jumped back in surprise. There came a noise, like from a guitar, inside that creepy old home. I heard a sound that sent shivers down my back. It was a witch's voice. "Come in, we have been awaiting your arrival." Very slowly I scrambled up the steps, and there she was, a short midget with a big cloak. "Rest your tired bones." I slowly moved to sit down. In a creepy chair, I heard some strange groans. Just then I heard laughing. I jumped forward, almost killing myself. "Surprise!" My friends jumped out at me. "Happy Halloween. Welcome to our party." That was short but sweet. I liked that. That was an interesting poem. Or not a poem. I think it's a poem. Oh, excuse me. It's also very early in the morning. I always do this very early in the morning, and I always end up yawning. That was cool. Okay, this is Jack Fury's poem? Yep, titled Halloween Night. This is Halloween, this is Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. That wasn't part of his poem, that was just for me. Okay, here we go. Halloween Night. When the full moon is out and the werewolves rise, the sub-vamps float around with their red glowing eyes. When the witches fly on brooms made from sticks and dog hair, and the cyclops is plotting from within his dark lair. When the vampire is hungry for the blood of some cubies, and the zombie is grunting while he follows the Tubi. When the coffins are shaking and the lanterns are flashing, when the graves are all quaking and Toothby's teeth are gnashing. When the ghosts are all moaning and the jack-o'-lanterns grin, when the mummies are groaning and the slimes cause a din. While the horseman is searching for his long missing head, the Bigby is screeching and it fills you with dread. You should bar all the doors from this a night, where these creatures all roam and they'll give you a fright. The mutants, the monsters, have all come to play, and around they will wander till the sun brings the day. No, it's not safe for a QB like you, a QB whose bones they would all like to chew. So grab your black cat and go hunker down tight, and just maybe you'll survive the Halloween night. By Jack Fury. That was really good. It had a good rhyming scheme, it had a good pattern, it had a lot of Halloween Cubic Castles related things. I really enjoyed it. It was really well written. Good job, Jack. It seems that you are good with poems as well as good with art. Okay, who have we got next? This one is by Rezu. Dirt is dirt, but is dirt a dirt? Dirt, 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 and yes, dirt is a dirt. Life is dirt, we are dirt, we can see dirt, so we can eat dirt. But is that all the dirt? Happy Dirt-oween. Rezu. Rezu, I don't even know what to say to you. I enjoyed your dirt poem, though. Okay, what have we got next? Kunshu. 'Twas the night before Halloween. This is a long story. So, settle in. Make sure you turn the light on in case you're very scared. I'm going to have a sip of water to make sure that I can still talk. And let's do this. Ooh, ooh. 'Twas the night before Halloween by Kunshu. Adrian was eager to get everything else ready tomorrow, so he decided to go to sleep early. There was so much to do and so little time to do it. "Hey, champ," said his mum and dad, coming into their room. "Hi, Daddy. Hi, Mummy," said Adrian, sitting down. "You brush your teeth?" asked his dad. Adrian showed all his teeth. "You set the alarm?" asked his mum. "Mm-hmm." His mum leaned down and kissed his cheek, and his father did the same. "You want us to leave the light on, Aid?" asked his mum. Adrian frowned. "No, Mum. What did I tell you? I'm grown up." "Okay, big man," said his dad, and laughed. "Good night," said Adrian. "Good night," said his parents, and walked out of the room, closing the door behind them. The room was a bit too dark for Adrian's liking. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea, Adrian thought. A few hours later. "Beep, beep, beep, beep. It's morning already," said Adrian drowsily, rubbing his eyes. He opened them. It was still night. The clock was broken, probably. He checked the time. It was 3:02 a.m. "That early?" he said, frowning. He fell back in and closed his eyes. He started counting chicks. He was slowly falling into sleep. Bang! He shot up from bed and looked at his window. The window was shattered. He wanted his mum and dad. "No, I'm a big man. I can handle this," he thought. He walked towards his window, stepping carefully over the glass. He looked out and saw that there was a trail of luminous slime glue leading away from the backyard into the forest. "A slime couldn't have done that," he thought. "But then, what did?" He was eager to find out. He put on his blue shirt, baseball cap and backpack, took his flashlight and his wand, and opened the door to his room quietly, so as not to wake his parents up. He snuck down the stairs and reached the entrance. He opened the door. The night was beautiful. The moon threw a pretty silver light on his lawn. He went to his backyard and saw the slime trail. It was shiny, and that wasn't normal. Slime goo never shone, especially like this. He switched his flashlight on and followed the trail into the forest. The deeper Aid went, the darker it got. The only source of light coming from his flashlight and the slime. The goo shined more and more as he progressed. It looked hypnotic. The trail ended near a clearing. Adrian pointed his flashlight into the clearing to identify any signs of life, but it was empty, except for a tree stump in the middle. This place was quiet. Adrian liked serenity, but there was something sinister about this place. He stepped into the clearing, looking around. He went to the tree stump and looked on top of it. There was a smudge of green on the corners. The slime must have been here. He looked around, cupped his hands, and shouted, "Hello!" His voice echoed lightly through the trees, but it reached no one. He sat down on the tree stump and felt it creak a little. He looked down at it, slightly alarmed. He tapped the stump twice. "It's hollow," he thought. He got off and tried pushing the stump. It was moving away. He pushed it until he saw an opening. There was a bit of slime goo on the edge of the hole. "Aha!" he said proudly. He pointed his flashlight down. There was beautiful blue water coursing down there, and there was a glimmering slime glue on the walls. He was in the right place. He jumped down. A bit of water splattered on his pants. "Good thing I'm not. Oh, right, we don't have shoes," he said, and proceeded down the dark sewer. Part of him thought it was a bad idea, but another part of him was really excited. A Halloween mystery. How cool is that? He followed the now incredibly luminous goo down the tunnels. The trail ended on a big enough to fit his boy size. How convenient. He pushed the door, and the door snapped open. It was a chamber. In the middle of the room there was a fountain, the water coursing through in the tunnels leading into it. He walked towards it. It was so cool. It had a pumpkin in the middle. Water was flowing from both its eyes. They looked like tears, but it looked happy. He gawked at the fountain for what must have been hours, before remembering why he was here in this place. He cupped his hands around his mouth as he had before and shouted, "Hello!" His voice echoed through the chambers, but there was no response. All he could hear was the water coursing into the fountain. "Guess there's no one here," he said to himself. But then one thought occurred to him. Then what made that trail? Just then he heard a "hello" coming from behind him. He jumped and turned to look at the owner of the voice. There was no one there. He had a thought, but that was silly. It couldn't have been, could it? He looked at the pumpkin and said, "Hello?" The pumpkin moved and looked down at Adrian with those flowing eyes. "Hi!" Adrian was stunned. This was unreal. Statues couldn't talk, but how could this one? "How can you talk?" The pumpkin's mouth curled into a smile. "Ugh, were you the one who broke my window?" "Oh, I'm sorry." "Oh, were you the one that broke my window?" The pumpkin frowned a little. "Yes, I am sorry. We didn't mean to do that." "What did you mean to do then?" The pumpkin ignored this as well. "Okay, did you make the slime trail? I followed it all the way here." "I can see that," he said, wearing the creepy smile. "So did you?" Adrian asked again. "No, he did." "Who?" asked Adrian. The pumpkin kept smiling at Adrian. It was unsettling him. "Him who?" he asked. Wait. I'm confusing myself. "Him who?" he asked. "Him behind you." Adrian turned around and saw a slime. It wasn't an ordinary slime. He seemed to glow brighter than a torch. "Hi," said Adrian. Unlike the slimes he saw at the Cubic Carnival a year prior, this one looked sinister. "Hello, Adrian," said the slime. "How did you know my name?" he said, startled. "We've been watching you," he said. "Why?" Adrian asked. "You won't understand," said the slime calmly. "I think I will. I want to know, what?" Behind the slime was a ghost. Like the slime, this one looked sinister. Adrian looked to his right. Ghosts were gathering around him. He couldn't, stepped back and turned to his door. The entrance was blocked by a bunch of slimes. Adrian couldn't understand what was happening. He turned to face the pumpkin. "What are you doing?" The pumpkin's smile turned grim. His face looked different than it had been. It was horrifying. His mouth was jagged, fire crackling in it, and the water that had been flowing through his eyes had turned to fire. He was no longer a statue. If he had been one before, he looked more like a jack-o'-lantern. "They're tired of your kind hunting them and putting them in boxes," the pumpkin said. I'm pretty sure I've forgotten what my voices are for everyone but Adrian at this point. He seemed to breathe fire with every word he spoke. "And me? Well, I've a similar story. Would you like to hear it?" Adrian stood frozen with his mouth hung open, staring at the monster before him. He regained his senses. He couldn't run. He was surrounded. He could only listen. Yes, he said. The pumpkin smiled, glaring at Adrian. "It started more than a millennia ago. The Cubic lands were ours. I was their king. Then your kind showed up, your cubies. You started talking. What wasn't yours? You used your magic to enslave us, to enslave my people, to enslave me!" He roared. A bright flame had been shot from the pumpkin's mouth. Adrian jumped back. "It was on this day the cubies attacked my kingdom, led by that one, Q-Birth. He said that we weren't good for this world, that we were destroying it. Monsters, he called us. He banished me from the mortal realm, sent my soul down the void so I can never return. He declared that day Halloween, the day they took down Jackover, the dictator of the monsters. When you celebrate Halloween, you celebrate the genocide of my kin," said Jack, his eyes burning a deep shade of blue. "But I came back, and I'm going to make you all pay," Jack said. "And who better to start with than Q-Birth's descendant himself?" "What? No! Stay back," said Adrian, looking at the monsters approaching him. He felt homeless. He could do nothing but scream. As Adrian screamed, the ground began to quake. The slimes were bursting and the ghosts were snapping back and forth into reality. He opened his eyes and saw there was a huge puddle of slime goo where the slime had been. He looked back at Jack, who looked bewildered. Adrian had no time to linger. He ran towards the door and shoved it open. He had ran as fast as he could. He looked behind him to see that an army of ghosts were following him. He couldn't bring these monsters up with him. He needed to do something, and he had an idea. He stopped and pointed his wand toward the ghosts. He focused all strength he could muster onto his wand and shot at them. A blazing dragon had shot out of the tip of his wand, breathing blazing embers at the ghosts. The ghosts were gone, all of them. Adrian continued to go back the way he came. He saw moonlight shimmering down the opening. He climbed the hole, and he was back in the clearing. Jack had warped in front of him, looking shrill. "What have you done?" shouted Jack, his fire burning out. Out of nowhere, Adrian said, "I think I did the world a favour again." He pointed his wand at Jack. "No!" The dragon wrapped itself around Jack and squeezed the pumpkin until it burst. Jack was no more. Adrian fell to the dirt surface, shaking. His wand had shattered. What just happened? He asked himself. It was all so horrifying, yet, a few minutes later, he climbed the staircase to his bedroom and crawled into bed. He needed to sleep badly. What a weird night. Oh, my voice. Why did I do that? That hurt a lot. Ugh, water. Well, I enjoyed that one as well. That was really well written. I liked the story. I liked the twist. It was good. Oh, maybe I'm going to ease off on the voices, because it's going to mess me up. Okay. Here we go. Next story. Dawid Kolo, 2012. My story. Spoiler. Joke. October 31st. A group of friends decided to spend Halloween night as... Let me start that again. October 31st. A group of friends decided to spend Halloween night in the supposedly most terrible reality in Kubik's castles. There were 5 of them. James, Tim, Angelo, Martha and Anna. They spread out the tents they brought in the summer pack. Angelo, are we going to check out the whole realm? All. Yes! When they returned, they saw that their tents were destroyed. Martha, it's definitely a wind or an animal. Tim, there are no winds and animals in this game that can destroy tents. Anna, it's terrible. I'm leaving. Wait a minute. Why is there no exit door? James enters the /trade command and says, we are alone on this server. There must have been a mistake. Angelo, I had to start a bonfire and fix the tents. James, I'll help you, Angelo. James said, he's going for more wood. Angelo was left alone and heard some noises in the dark. Is it you, James? James? And then suddenly he felt a stroke and saw that there were no hearts left. Angelo died in the main chat. Who was next? Everyone got scared. Anna, no, it's impossible. To the camp, where the tents were being repaired, James ran in a bloody place and says, ha ha ha, who's next? Who is next? Tim, Anna and Martha turned around and wanted to run away, but someone caught them. It was Angelo. You died, everyone shouted. Suddenly, nickname Angelo changed to G-Dog, and James' nickname changed to Space Fetus. Scary Halloween, shouted. The end. This next one is by Vetra. This may cause nightmares. Okay. She was excited for Halloween. She had every decoration possible. Her realm so spooky, even the bats stay away. A few more touches and it would be complete. She goes out looking for her last item, and that item is a cubie or 2. Enters lobby. She thinks carefully of a plan. 3 items, just follow me to my realm. I promise my items are to die for. And of course, the gullible new kids didn't hesitate. Entering the realm. Oh wow, this is so cool, exclaimed the new cubie excitedly. Why thank you, I think you love this. She handed him a sunny potion with a big smile. The cubie gulps it quickly, then prepares to leave. I can't move. Why can't I move? The cubie starts to panic. Didn't I say it was to die for? She laughs manically, as the poor cubie is turned into a mannequin. Be careful when you go to other people's realms. You never know when you could be turned into a mannequin. That is true. You never do know when you could be turned into a mannequin at any given moment. We should be careful of that in the future. _star Alexander _ wrote The Wild Dragon by Alexander. Okay, here we go. The Wild Dragon. Once upon a time in Kubik old history, there was wild, unknown pet in the forest of Kubik. This pet was furious. He would eat a cubie alive in one bite. It's Andragon. He was known as the Cubie Murderer. The dragon pet was so giant as known in the Kubik castle history. But the giant wild dragon had a good description. With his green, fluffy, comfortable wool and his horror patterns were all the shapes of it on his body. Anyways, one Kubik day and group of 4 players. I'll introduce you to them. They are William, Billy, Mark and Steve. They encouraged and went to the forest to try and end the wild animal's life, so they said their goodbyes to their family. After a long journey, the team finally entered the forest. That forest was known for its creepy weather and its dead trees and the bats flying everywhere and popping into their faces, and it was dark. Mark, ouch, and bug bit me, said Mark. When the team entered the forest, Mark began to panic. Mark, I feel worried and scared. Don't you think we should head back to our realms? This place is not safe, Mark said. William. Oh, come on, grow up. Come on, team, we can do this, William answered. The teams continued with their knives and swords, cutting between long grass and bugs on their faces, getting ready to end the creature's life, jumping through the lake and the mud, thinking nothing can stop them. The team finally made it to the dragon's place. William. This is it. We made it. I will kill him, you guys. Stay here, William said. William carefully walked into the dragon's home, while Billy, Steve and Mark stayed over there. Suddenly, when William moved one block into his home, the dragon popped into William's face and crushed William's face, and his eyeballs popped out with all the blood on the ground, like an lake. The last 3 players didn't know what to do. The dragon was flying around them, trying to end their lives after William's life. One of the players fastly came up with an idea. Billy, hey guys, let's try to feed the dragon. Maybe he would calm down and not kill us, shouted Billy. Steve, that's a good idea. I have sausages, said Steve. Mark, I have some peppers and some milk and a piece of apple, said Mark. Billy, okay, we can use the sausages, it might work. Steve gave the sausages to Billy, and Billy tried to feed the dragon, one only. When Billy tried to feed the dragon surprised Billy and got him on fire, and there was no chance to save Billy. He was far away from his team, and he sadly died. After Billy was dead, Mark and Steve, "Ow no, we're gonna die," both said. Mark, R.I.P. Billy and William, you two were good friends, said Mark. While Mark was saying bye to Billy and William, Steve was the next one, and then the dragon suddenly pulled Steve and flew him into the volcano, and he was gone. Mark didn't know what to do, and he gave up and got ready for death. He wished to say the last goodbye to his friends and Mum and Dad and brothers. Mark fell asleep, and the dragon still didn't attack him while sleeping spiders were growing up inside of his nose, little creatures, creeping on his legs, slowly. Mark woke up with an loud nose, freaked out. He was afraid from bugs and spiders. In the night, the dragon decided to make friends with Mark because he was nice, and put fire around Mark, and put his wing on him after Mark knew he didn't attack him, and wanted to see if he would attack him. So he fed him some apples. The dragon ate it with no angriness or attacking. Mark, why is he being nice to me? Maybe he wants to kill me while I am sleeping, Mark wondered. In the night, Mark took off back to the Cubic Town centre, but it seemed that the dragon has become his friend, and Mark doesn't have any idea. The dragon flew to see where he went, and after couples of times of searching, the dragon found Mark. Mark was scared. The dragon was trying to tell that we're friends and I am not fighting you. Mark tried touching him. The dragon put his head under Mark's hand and tell Mark it's okay. Mark knew he is now in safe zone. After long ways to make Mark sure that he is in safe zone, they finally flew down to Cubic Town to tell his friends, but there was no one in Cubic Town. Mark, where everyone? Oh, now I remember, it's Halloween. Everyone in the party. Let's go, dragon, said Mark. Mark and Dragon went to the party, and he saw his friends, and he told everything, but then after, the dragon became good friends with the other players in the party, and no hate belongs between the dragon and the cubies forever. This happened in the 31st of October, so it is known as Halloween, where all cubies go to get candy, where the dragon and dragon's friends come to visit him every Halloween, and Mark and the dragon with his friends were hating, live happily ever after in this place. Billy Spirit, woo, Space Feeders, I have heard of you before. Happy Halloween, boo, haha, scared you. And that was Alexander's story. The next story is by Sawatawanana. Sawatawanana. That is what I'm going with. My story. Oh, it looks like a good one. It's got words. This story's got words. One stretch and we're good. The Haunted Lab. Dave, stop pushing me. The silver moon was casting odd shadows across the dark neighbourhoods of Cubic Castles. The wind made eerie whistling noises as it gently blew across the rooftops and the leaf-littered lawns of the street. Cheesy decorations hung from the rooftops of houses, twitching a little when the wind blew. Fake spider webs draped across the doors of some houses, giant spiders and skeletons staring at the two boys from others. No, you're pushing me, Dave said with a distant sigh. Mark rolled his eyes and continued walking. Halloween was one of his favourite holidays, and he wasn't going to let Dave ruin it for him. As annoying as his brother could be, he loved him though. If something tried to take him from him, he wouldn't be able to sleep for a couple of days, fresh tears pooling in his eyes. Perfect little time to daydream, don't you think? Dave said with a snicker. Mark glared at him. He looked ahead. Nothing but leaves and darkness. They continued walking for a while, went to some houses. Though they had no costumes or bags, they got some treats. After some time of walking, the moon disappeared behind some black clouds, leaving the boys in the darkness. After focusing his eyes, though, he saw something in the distance. at the outskirts of the woods. It was a squat metal building, the only entrance seeming to be the large metal door. He also thought he might have saw something small and dark running around it, but wrote it off as a wild animal running by. "I dare you to go inside there," Dave said, matter-of-factly, as if it was as simply a thing as tying your shoes. The statement surprised Mark. He looked again at the squat building, its large shadow looming over the grass. He could swear that its door was screaming, "Come in, I have some cookies." "Okay, but you are coming in too," Mark muttered. As they approached the squat building, it got more and more eerie, and the sound seemed to drain more from their worlds as they approached. The wind picked up and blew gently against Mark's deep brown hair. Opening the heavy metal door took some effort, but they managed to pry it open. The inside of the building was some kind of hidden reception room that chilled Mark to the bone. There was a set of stairs descending down into the basement, the light upstairs doing nothing to break the darkness in the basement. "I have a flashlight with me," Dave continued. "Works about as well as an oil lamp, but it's better than nothing." They turned on the flashlight and started to descend into the creepy basement, each step adding to Mark's worry that this was a very bad idea. When they reached the end, it was the darkest part yet. "I'll see if there are any light switches," Mark whispered, the fear evident in his trembling voice. He found the switches, then turned it on, but when he saw what was around him, he immediately regretted it. It was some kind of sick, huge lab. Huge, strange mutations floated around in tanks, their eyes focused on the new visitors. 4 enormous cots filled one side of the space, menacing tools at the side on the filthy tables. But the creepiest part was the centre. A huge, black, shadowy figure stood up, turned around slowly. It was a disturbing sight. Its eyes were bright yellow, everything else on it pitch black. The creature cocked its head, then smiled. It revealed a large set of sharp teeth that were a dirty yellow. The smile turned into a snarl and suddenly broke into a run, keeping its eyes on its target, keeping its eyes on Mark. "Damn, Mark, run!" Mark couldn't move. He was practically hypnotized by the strange creature. Then he knew that the next few moments of his life would be the last. Then suddenly, out of the side, jumped out a figure. It was Dave. He pushed Mark out of the way, putting himself in front of the beast. Mark didn't even have time to react before he saw his brother, Dave, get swallowed by the shadow. He could hear Dave screaming at him to run, but he couldn't. Fresh tears trickled down his cheeks as he tries to process everything that just changed in his life. Dave soon stopped, and a minute after. Then suddenly the world erupted in pixels, and Mark was being pulled into a deep void. Mark woke up with a yelp, frantically looking around as he took in his breath. He was in his bed, his body completely soaked in sweat. "It was a dream," Mark said. He then laughed, let everyone out, and prepare himself for his day. Or was it? Happy Halloween, everyone. I hope you enjoyed my story, and good luck. I did enjoy your story. I thought it was nice. It wasn't nice. Halloween stories aren't nice, but I did enjoy it. It was good. I'm just going to insert this clip in because I went back through to do the judging and feel like I missed some. So this one's Diva Da Diva 09. One night I was at my door, but I forgot my candy. When I went back in, I saw my sister Maddie. Then I went back. I had cubies in my door, and I came across a little eye. Someone told me that a cubie was spying, but I thought it was a lie. I left the candy for them. When came back, they asked for more. I said, "When are you sure you're going?" The cubie said, "Boo." I screamed, then I ran in, but then I saw another. Cubie watched my TV. Then I said, "Get out." He stayed there. He made my house all messy when he left. I was all by myself, and my sister Mandy was gone. "Maddie, where are you?" I asked. "She has been took by another cubie." Found the cubie luckily, Sue. I asked her for, but he was a vampire for Halloween, so he asked for a cup of my blood. I said yes, but why? He said, "I am a real vampire." Then he took my blood. Wanted to go trick-or-treating, so I did. I ringed a door and Cubie answered, so he was a vampire too. Then he took all of my blood, then I was a vampire Cubie. The end. And the next one is a little poem by Hijinks. "Heed my cubies, come and see, the beat inside of us is here for me. Of which we seek is which we will find, but there is only one for which we must divide." And I think the final one I missed was BlueJ_1. "What lies beyond places in toil, with a heart of stone, pain and toil? What lies beyond the 31st, nothing but darkness and its curse? What lies inside the Tubie's head, a spirit that holds the mystic dead? What lies outside the promised packs, cubies awaiting the long-lost sacks? What lies on the window, still up above, a lone flower waiting, lacking love? What lies inside the trick-or-treat, rests asleep with demons from the street? What lies inside the town centre, a soft quiet place for hinter? What lies beyond the autumn bloom, a pale heart with a faded tune?" Okay, and the next story is by Cosmic Cow 565. A night. It was a cool morning. The dew falls from the leaves. The bits flew through... Sorry. Let me start that again, because that was not the best start. It was a cool morning. The dew falls from the leaves. The bits flew through space-time. The bitter taste ran through everyone's mouth. Short life was divided into sections. Born, live and die. Everything is constantly repeated until you think you are alive, but suddenly you are in another dimension, and everything is confusing. One day, the day October 30th to be exact, I went with my friends to walk down the street. I saw an illumination in an opening field, and I went to it. My companions left. Suddenly the strange blue light moved, and all would think it would be a will-o'-the-wisp, because no, it was not a will-o'-the-wisp. That fire had a kind of face, and it was quite scary. I approached, and suddenly I saw everything blue. When I entered the view, I was in a square world where they were all white dolls. Others with black masks, and others even clown masks. That was what scared me the most. I entered a kind of portal where I found the same field and could mine. However, in the other not clear, and it was strange as mind, build, etc. Everything was square minus some things. It was like very strange everything. I went to the beginning where I left, but there was no fire or kind of blue face to take me home. A girl told me, "What's your name?" By the way, I do not speak, only I saw a message inside a bubble above. The truth that I did not understand anything. Everything was as badly written. It is seen that it's lost all the spelling. It was something confusing and strange at the time. I do not know that was where I was from. I met a boy who wore a Polish flag, and for a strange reason he wore a number on a star that said 18. It was weird. He did not know how to speak, as he had no voice. He suddenly entered by art magic, or I do not know what happened to enter a portal. There were many people. I looked bald, well that's what I believed. I was naked, and was totally white. It was very strange. I did not understand anything. I kept asking myself what I do, and so all the way until I enter another portal, that I followed a boy suddenly disappearing among the trees. I was scared, but it was not even me. It was very confusing. And again I was wondering what to do. Suddenly I saw a walking pumpkin behind a man with a pay mask. He looked at me intently, as if he would watch me to kill me, and he did not lack. He wore a kind of skull wand. Suddenly he threw a lightning bolt and took away some of the hearts that he had at one end of where he was, and he never took off. And on top of the number 0, I do not know what that meant, but I had to pay attention to the clown. Suddenly I looked forward. I lost sight of him running. I went to where he went, and suddenly I hurt my leg with some spikes I had on the floor that was new. Suddenly it was all full of blood. It was trapped, and above it started to rain. Suddenly a boy saw me and called someone. It took a few hours, and fainted. When I woke up I was all bloody with water. It stopped raining. A drop hit my eye. I looked at my wound, and blood continued to flow. I did not know how many litres I had lost. At that moment I thought I had lost 100 litres. That was too much. Humans did not. We arrived at 10. It was a bit ink, reciprocable. And then when I looked at the end, I saw half-heart. I was scared. Suddenly a car came, and it was supposed to be the ambulance. With that the boy, they took the trap. I got up, and at the same time I was too much blow. I could not walk. They grabbed me and took me by car. Then they took me to the hospital, where I sat on a bed of a cloud. It was strange but true. Suddenly all the lights of the hospital went out. For a moment I closed my eyes, and I remembered to the clown. I went to the door, and everything was empty, as if all of a sudden they were all gone. After a few seconds I saw blood splashing from a corner. I entered the room and I hid. I thought about throwing myself out the window, but I think that from a 5th floor would not be good. I was dragging myself down the hall. Suddenly the lights went on. I was scared. I looked back and I saw that a clown. I thought it would be a nightmare. Suddenly I saw the bluish face or fire that it was, but it was a bit far. I was dragged quickly before the clown would catch me, and I left suddenly to that open field. Look at me around, and there was nothing. There was only the clearing. Everything was a plain, or rather a desert. I looked, and I was really not. And that's the end of that. Yeah, that was an interesting story. The next one is by Hope. Or should I say, Up Arrow, Hope, Up Arrow. Let's have a sip of water for my beautiful voice. There we go. Let's do this. I woke up in this strange place. It was all dark. I got this weird feeling about it. I was in a house. I didn't recognise it at first, but I knew something was odd about it. I got up. There was no lights, only matches and candles. I lighted it up and opened the door. I was in a creepy house full of webs. I could hear the wood cracking. It was really quiet. As I went down the stairs, I saw a dark figure standing, trembling. I got closer. It turned to face me. It wasn't human whatsoever. It got my attention. It had really big red eyes, blue skin colour, and horns. I tried to touch it, but it ran away. I went after it, searching off when it ran. I got into the kitchen. There was a letter. It was written in blood, saying, "As you get closer to the core, the more perilous your adventure will be. M." I was petrified, but I did not have any choice but to continue searching. All doors and windows were locked. I had no escape. As I was searching, there was a hidden spot. It was all covered, but I noticed I could pass through it. I couldn't explain it. There was an only way path I knew. I had to go through there. There was a chest. I opened it and found a wand, robe, and letter. The letter said, "I see you're truly a clever one, but you will have to find the password to enter the core. M." Password? What did M mean by that? Who is this M? What does it want from me? These questions gave me a shiver down my spine. I went back, but all lights were opened now. What happened? Who was here? I went to the living room. There was an old CD player playing music. It had writing on it. The Cubaning. I found another letter. It said, "Check the top left drawer. You'll like the surprise." I found something fascinating. It was a pretty pink accessory. Right next to it there was a big bag filled with candy. Happy Halloween! I decided on wearing the accessory. I put the bag of candy in my pocket and continued searching for the password. I went back to the kitchen, but there was something missing. I heard a voice saying, "Help me! Have I imagined something? Will I ever go back home?" I felt something cold grabbing my hand. It was the creature. "What are you?" It dragged me back upstairs. But wait, where are we going? He, her. It was trembling. It pointed out a wall, and there was a block with a lock sign on it. Do I need a key? No, it's a block. Can I open it by hand? No, it's the wall. I was mumbling out ways of how I could have opened it when the creature said, wand. Wand? Yes, the wand in the chest. I ran back to the wand. Came back to it, but the creature disappeared. Where is it? There was a letter on the block. Focus. You're getting distracted. M. Distracted? Did I do something wrong? Focus. I hit the block with a wand and heard a door opening. I ran to where the noise came from and found the huge door opened. Why wasn't this here before? Focus. I went inside and saw a letter. I grabbed it and it said, "Password hint number 1. What? What? How many hints are left? Will I manage to find out the password? Keep focusing. Half an hour has passed since I found the first hint. Obviously, it felt so much longer than that. I wanted to take a break, but I couldn't. I knew I had to find out what was going on. I went downstairs, but noticed the exit was unlocked. Why was it unlocked? It doesn't matter. I'm going outside. I went outside. There was a shed. I went to check it, but the door was locked. There was a letter in the grass. As I read it, I hoped on never experiencing this again. What was written on it? Can you guess? Was it all just a prank? No, it can't be. Will the character die? No. Was it all useless? No. It had a little poem on it, and it said, "Tick-tock, paper rock, ever tried the scissor mock? Get it out, sharp and nice, and then throwing in the dice. 1's to live, 2's to kill, 3's to see, 4's to roll in, 5's to get also very ill, but 6 for the ones who win. M." I can't do this, I thought to myself as I fell down on the ground. I started crying. Suddenly, while I was crying, I heard the music getting louder from inside the house. But this time I could hear a voice saying, "Tick-tock, tick-tock." Got a hold of myself and stood up. Went inside the house to where the music came from. There was a key. It was the key from the shed. I ran back to the shed and opened the door. I was petrified. The creature was there. It had carved out on its hand the second hint. The creature was crying, but it slowly crawled to my feet and showed me the hint. Hint number 2. Day. I ripped my clothing apart and covered up its wound from bleeding. It thanked me by licking my hand gently. I went to the backyard and saw another chest. It was up in the treehouse. There was a ladder leaning onto this fence with a black cat passing by. Mew mew. Kept on meowing as I was getting the ladder closer, but I ignored it. Climbed up on the ladder and entered the treehouse. Went at the chest, but I somehow got hit by something. What was that? I will find out. The wind was blowing and I felt the odd presence around me. It couldn't be nothing but a ghost. I noticed something glowing in the shadows and knew those were its eyes. The place was dangerous. I grabbed everything from the chest and quickly went back down. There was another letter. Next time, be more aware of the things around you. You never know. Maybe I've been here all the time. M. I know. I decided on going back in the house since there was nothing left outside. There was a piece of paper on every on every stair. I collected all of them and tried to put them all together. Is it another hint? I don't know. It was actually the poem letter from before, but now it was changed. Tick-tock, paper rock, I won't use the scissor mock. Attention please, there are mice and they've stolen our dice. 1's to live, 2's to kill, 3's to see, 4's to roll in, 5's to get so very ill, but 6 has, and... The note was blurred, but I knew the last verse was changed as well. What was the last verse about? What did M mean by mice? Music played again, but this time the voice was saying, think, sewers. How will I get to the sewers? I heard the black cat meowing and I went to check. It was trying to show me the way to the sewers. Wow, I never thought cats were that smart. I managed to make it to the sewers and the first thing I saw was a machine. There was a piece of paper saying, put my gift in here. Gift? Oh, the accessory. I putted the accessory in there and it gave me a token. What should I do with the token? Kept on going further and there was another machine. I knew what I had to do. I put the token in and it gave me a letter. It was the third hint. Hooray! Hint number 3 is... The letters also mentioned that the last hint wouldn't be easy to find. I'm ready. As I told myself that I'm ready, I felt something magical going on. My whole outfit changed. I had a wand and spawned in a different world. Where am I? This is your final test. The voice was not really heartwarming at all. I heard an echo of a meowing cat. Am I dreaming? I felt a paw on my face and I woke up terrified. What happened? The cat suddenly started speaking. I took a little distance and listened it say, there were toxic chemicals in the sewer. The creature dragged you all the way back. I thanked them and left with no question. Saw traces of footsteps leading to the door I originally came back from. I went inside and there was written on the wall, hint number 4, today. Wasn't it supposed to be hard to find? It doesn't matter how. What day is it today? The door opened as I typed in the password. I was in my room. Wednesday the 31st. But 6th has drowned in its own sin, and our player got to win. And that is the end of that story. Okay, Galantis, the Cubic Halloween. I went to the Cubic town centre every day, until one day. I saw a doorway, I heard run away, I walked away, I saw a ghost, I said go away. I saw a box with my torch, I shone it against the box. Oh no, it's a ghost in a box. I saw Space Feeders. And I said that there are ghosts in that space. He said give me some space, because I'd go and take a look into that space. I turned around and when I looked back, space was gone. The ghost has said that they have won. I stand alone. When I look behind me, something is standing, and he looked at me. Oh no, he follows me. I'm only there in the dark. There was no QB to see. I heard someone screaming. I am hidden. The day came lightly. This was not easy. I saw a zombie. He said, give me your brain. Space? Yes, it is him. His skin was green. Happy Halloween. Ah, I liked that. That was cool. Snowstormy. Long ago, a ghost haunted the town of Eden Free. The town's wizards gathered together. They cast a forbidden spell and trapped the ghost inside a plasm trap. So even when the ghosts escape, the forbidden spell will ensure that the ghost only appears on the 31st of October. The town was safe until one day. Thomas_7 and his friend were on a hunt to find the plasm trap so they could be rich. The plasm trap was under an old tree in a sacred area. Thomas_7 trespassed the area and walked to the tree. Found a glowing green trap. It was the plasm trap, no doubt. He greedily snatched it. As soon as his fingers touched the plasm trap, the green glow moved away from the plasm trap to form a ghost. Thomas_7's friends all ran away cowardly, leaving Thomas_7 to deal with the ghost. The date was the 31st of October. It was a terrible idea to touch the plasm trap. The ghost summoned its friends. The ghost was stronger than ever after all these years of being trapped. All the ghosts didn't care about Thomas_7. They had the whole town to scare. Thomas_7 knew one plasm trap could only trap one ghost, so he must make more. Using the old Cubic Castle's recipe book, the plasm trap wouldn't be as strong as the original one, but at least it'll hold them until another 31st of October. And that, my friend, is why we go on ghost hunts in Cubic Castles when it's Halloween. Because if you don't cap all the ghosts, then they'll just scare all of Cubic Town forever. So, yeah, we just got to be careful of that, really. Right, Goldbuster, coming soon. I guess it's not, or maybe he made a new comment. Maybe we'll find out in a bit. Sarko has written, and I shall begin to read it. Finding the candies. You had heard of rumours of the coconut crunches. Your friends have told you they were to be found at the evil town centre. Hesitantly entering, you noticed zombies starting to chasing you. Their teeth were gnarly and blood-stained, but luckily your legs were agile and quick. So fortunately you got the candy, but afterwards you felt rather sick. You then went to find the red course, which you had heard the hard peppermint was stored. You got it rather fast, as parkour was an easy task. Thirdly, you went to Q-Birth's Realm Museum to find the Orange Delight, but you need not to tell of this, as it was tireless work. Truly it put up no fight. You asked your friends once again where to go, in which they pointed in the direction of the night course. So, of you headed in search of the Jawsifier. You shivered in the dark, tripping towards an increasing force. Carefully you traversed around the excruciatingly painful spikes. You thought you felt the touch of a cold, freezing hand, so blindly you ran throughout the parkour. Eventually, though, you found your prize, the Jawsifier in all of its glory. Someone approached you and said, "The last candy is in the graveyard, and is it art too?" Quickly you rushed to the second option. You did not want to face the zombie for round 2, so being the parkour expert you rushed through the parkour at exhilarating speed. You got to the door and took it, the Turkish treat. As you were waiting for your stove to cook, you noticed you were turning green. Your limbs were growing and moving like a machine. The zombies must have bitten me, you thought. Uncontrollably, you looked behind you and saw the zombie from earlier. They were not vicious, but welcomed you and took you to their graveyard. Oh man, now you'll never craft the ultimate candy. Because of the zombies. So unthoughtful of them. Okay, Marshka. There was once a Finn wandering around the game, seeing lights, darkness, and lots of pumpkins. She was wondering why was everyone dressed so weirdly. Why were they running around and being so unfriendly? A stranger came by and asked for candy. Why are they expecting me to have some? She wondered and wondered. It couldn't be Easter, nor it's Christmas, or neither is it New Year. She found herself sitting on the bench of the Cubic Town Centre. Soon a friendly American joined her company and started talking, and so did the Finn learn all the mysteries and wonders there were in a celebration they called Halloween. Oh, that was short but sweet. Enjoyed that. The next one is by Star Butterfly. It was to be another quiet and peaceful night in town, but what happened, no one expected. One night, I and my friends decided to go for a walk. We visited several realms, but one of them was different, the Cubic Town Centre. When we entered it, we felt the heavy weather. Excuse me. We know that something had happened recently. We walked to the seats and we looked at all the places, obviously afraid, and the water had turned to blood. Zombies everywhere, standing like mannequin. We found this strange, and obviously, like most people, we tried to run to escape, but the portals were locked. We then decided to take our wands and be ready for anything, always together. 5 minutes passed and nothing else changed until system message. You have entered. We, scared, stayed away from this QB, just watching him circling like a retard around the blood source. You can't say that. Until we got inside her. Upon entering, he activated the zombie apocalypse. We used our wands, but nothing was good. It only hurt us even more, until our salvation returned. System message. The upside down question mark has entered. When we look at this person, we think he could be some kind of key person. As we ran away from everything, we looked out of the clouds in the town. The person walking in the middle of the zombies, and they running from this person, until he grabbed the question mark from inside the lake and gone. Everything returned to normal and disappeared from nothing, until we looked at our inventory and found a new item called Apocalypse. Made a retard as we are, we threw this item out, except I. I went and gave it to some authority, but it did not help. It went back to my inventory, and I wondered why my friends managed to get rid of it. The next morning, my friends died. You definitely can't call people retards. That's not okay. That is an unacceptable word. But other than that, your story was interesting. Dizzy. A short Halloween story. Why does QB celebrate Halloween? Is it because of candies or something else? Long ago, before QBs celebrate Halloween, spooks and QBs are in a not good term with each other. Spooks always bother QBs whenever they're building, crafting, mining, and on other things. QBs were really annoyed at the situation. One day a QB had a brilliant idea for making the spooks stop bothering them. The invention is called a spook in a box. The invention traps a spook, and making a spook have a limited freedom to move only, giving them freedom to move in circles again and again and again. But the King of Spooks helped them and set them free. The Cubies didn't give up and kept capturing them while the King of Spooks are setting them free. Until one October 31st, the Cubies got tired of the cycling and talked to the King of Spooks. "Please stop bothering us," one Cubie said. King of Spooks then replied saying, "I'll stop this only on one condition." The Cubies then replied back saying, "What is that condition?" King of Spooks said, "You shall dress up as one of us each year on this day." Then the Cubie said, "What can we benefit from this?" "You get a candy from us each time a Cubie asks us trick or treat." The Cubie then agreed and say, "Very well," but some spooks still are rebelling over the agreement. The Cubies then added another rule to the agreement which stated that all rebelling spooks that aren't following the rules will be kept in a spook-in-a-box trap. The King of Spooks agreed, and now we celebrate Halloween. The end. That was nice. Okay, the next one is by Luca795. It's been 2 years. Ever since then, it's been a fight for every day you get to live. Nothing is what it was anymore. Society is a thing of the past. A group of survivors is living inside the sewage system of Cubie Town, barely making it to the next day. The group is getting smaller month by month, there being now only 5 from what used to be an entire underground community of over 70 Cubies. But time heals all wounds, they say. One cold day of autumn, while they are scavenging the remnants of a bombed building, one of them, Cuban, finds among other books such as The Fairy in a Jar and The Kingdom of Cuba a rather interesting thing. A calendar! Holy Cubit, I know what we won't burn tonight. Guys, he starts to scream. Look what I have found. We haven't kept track of what day and month it is. Well. Then tell us, what day is it today? And you are so happy while we barely have any supplies left back at the underground. It's Halloween, look! I did some quick maths, and it seems that it is the 31st of October. It might be a few days off, but it makes sense for Halloween to happen around these cold and harsh autumn days. We were all busy underground trying to survive, but on the surface, amongst ruins and mutants, the nature changed. Oh right, so what do you suggest? I got an idea. A few hours later, after the scavenging session finished with no special findings other than that calendar, the surprise was revealed. Gather around everyone, I have something to announce. Okay, as we've all found out just a few hours ago, tonight is most likely Halloween. I know, it's such a surprise, but hey, why don't we go out and do trick-or-treating? But how? We are the only group of Cubies left in the town. We don't have any gas to travel to nearby cities to look for Cubies that might have survived the disease. How about we hunt some mutants? Since we haven't had any candy in over a year, maybe we can at least have their brains cut open. We have some flashlights and some charges in our wands, so why not? Ooh, Jesus Christ, you're insane. What if we die? You only live once. We are struggling to survive down here anyway. If we die happy. I'm in too. Yeah, this isn't going anywhere without me in. How can you even forget about me? Alright, let's go trick or killing. And for one night, they forgot the problems they faced every day, killing mutants and being happy again, even if not for long. Huh. I suppose if you can't have candy, you may as well kill mutants. What else are you going to do? Okay, so Sir Fox has written a poem, and I shall read it, and it is called Halloween Night, What a Fright. Okay. A young Cubie waiting for Christmas Day, but wait, he forgot one holiday. There will be hairy beasts, and corpses astray. Not even Thanksgiving feast can tame. He still has to suffer through the fright. On Halloween night he is scared as can be, so he says goodbye to his dog he may never see. He meets up with his friends on a leaf-littered street. No one shows up, he must not weep. So he goes to a house and knocks at the door, and an old lady opens and invites him in. It's very warm and smells of chocolate. She offers him some cookies, and he gladly eats more. He sits in a chair with hot cocoa in grasp and sleeps the whole entire night. The very next morning he has candy to eat. The sheer mass all he could do was gasp. But to his brother's stomachs he could not compete. He got 25 pieces of candy to eat. Only chocolate and gummies and candy corn in sight. He sits down and thinks about that past night. Maybe Halloween was not so bad after all the flight. Just around the corner it's Thanksgiving feast, and after come Christmas Day and New Year Eve in sight. He could not wait for these days. Now he only needs one thing to be fulfilled. Lots of toys under his Christmas tree. By the way, read it in desktop mode or it won't show up right. I did read it in desktop mode, so it's good. Hooray! Okay, what have we got next? Master Skeleton has written a story. Today is Halloween, so James, who loves horror movies, turned on Cubic Castles to buy a Halloween pack. When he bought, the only thing he got was a piece of paper. James thought it was a joke. Upset, he wanted to turn off the game, but he could not. Something told him to keep playing. He read the card. He wrote that the room Cubic Graveyard would find a clue. Suddenly the light went out in the house of James. He got scared, but he kept playing. When he found himself in the lobby, he noticed that no one. He immediately went to the room. There was a plaque in the middle with an inscription. "Hello, James. I'm sure you like horror movies. Maybe we can have fun. You better run away because you do not want to know what will happen when you catch you." James was very scared because he never said his name in the game, and suddenly he saw a monster approaching his form. He ran away, but the monster caught him. The phone came out. The room was terribly dark. Suddenly the lights came on, and there was an envelope on the table with an inscription. "Hi, James. Do you remember that vampire who asked you a trick or treat? Here is your treat. Space Fetus." Cool. I enjoyed it. Okay, so the next one is by Defarmer. It was sent from the future, so we should probably read this as a prophecy and be incredibly scared. And it's called G-Dog's Curse by The Hacker. Once there was a moderator named G-Dog. He woke up one morning and decided to make a YouTube video about the Cubic Castle's Halloween update. So G-Dog made some coffee and went to set it up for his video. G-Dog opened some packs before the video so he could get all the items he needed before he started the video. Little did he know that someone hacked into the Cubic Castle's encrypted systems and bugged the Halloween pack. The hack made one of the packs have a bug to where random stuff would happen to your account. G-Dog picked that pack before the video started. G-Dog did his YouTube video and uploaded it. Someone even said, "Wow, such a dank pack. I hope you get hacked." G-Dog saw this and wondered what this person was talking about. Didn't think much of it, but the next week G-Dog noticed the random stuff kept disappearing from his realms and inventory. Soon it got to the point that even one of his realms disappeared, and everyone had perms in another one of G-Dog's realms. He was sad, wondering what was happening, so he brought it up to the admins. The admins could do nothing because they couldn't find the bug that was in the system. Soon his mod power were taken away from the bug, and all his realms were gone, while G-Dog was on a week vacation. He got back October 31st and realised his account was erased from existence. G-Dog thought he would never get his stuff back. A hacker made the bug stop after the month of October, and the bug gave all of G-Dog's stuff back. G-Dog was happy when he found out and decided to reset that day. The hacker went down in history and never was caught or identified, but everything was well in the end. Now we just have to wait till October 2019 to see what happens next year. Huh, interesting. It was good. Okay, the next one is by Qubit Boy 2766. That's a lot of different Qubit boys out there. Okay, time to read. In a far-off land called Eden, there lived a Cubie who had never gone out for Halloween, but he was too frightened by all the terrifying costumes, not realising that it was Cubies under the mask. Even though he loved candy, he promised himself that he wouldn't be tempted to go out this year. But little did he know later that night his friends would come up with a plan to make him come out this year. His one friend happened upon a wonderful plan, and swiftly Imperial Storm said, "I have a great idea that might just work." So Pixel agreed, and without any doubts they headed off to work. The night before Halloween, Imperial Storm and Sir Pixel would sneak into his room and leave some candy. Now this wasn't any ordinary candy though. This candy was made from the finest tasting sugar and was filled with the best caramel on the land. Imperial and Pixel both hoped this would convince his fearful friend to come out and join them this year. The two set off on a long and tough quest to find this delicious candy. They tried the graveyards, the prison, and even the candy factory, but no luck. Then Sir Pixel had just realised that Penn's Yard Rentals has really nifty items, and so they headed to Penn's Yard Rentals, thinking that place is always packed and amazing for finding some cool and awesome items. Maybe they would be lucky and find some delicious candy there. When they had no luck there, they were about to give up, when a shady voice said, "Hey you there." Both Sir Pixel and Imperial Storm were chilled to the bone. They had heard stories of shady strangers and what bad they had done. However, Pixel decided to trust the guy, and with every ounce of courage he bravely replied, "Yes, hide that there, my name is Pixel." That Ammon, which I'm pretty sure is supposed to be man, replied ever so strangely, "No need to be scared, I won't hurt you. I couldn't help but hear you needed some delicious candy." Pixel replied very quickly, this time hoping the man wasn't lying and really did have some candy. "Yes, we need amazing tasting candy. It has to be fantastic tasting so we can try and convince our friend to come out this year and enjoy Halloween." The man took a step forward, putting his arm out and opening his hand to what lay inside. There was a dirty old sack filled with the best looking and most desirable candy corns in all of Eden. They looked like they were made from pure gold. They asked the shady man, "What are you selling it for?" The man replied quickly, "No cubits do I desire, but just making sure your friend comes out and make sure he enjoys Halloween." Imperial takes the candy from the man and walking away, forgetting to thank the man. Imperial and Pixel turn around to see nothing. Imperial says, "That's strange. Could have sworn the man was right there." Pixel replied, "Did we just see a ghost?" Both scared, they decided they would run to the market and buy a great costume for their frightful friend. Oh, excuse me. They arrived at the Halloween store to see so many costumes. It was hard to decide on a costume, but in the end they found a ghost costume. Purchasing it, they ran over to their friend's house, not even noticing that they had just bought a costume from a... They had taken so much time trying to find the candy and the costume, they almost ran out of time to convince their friend, Cubit Boy 2766. They went to his house, knocked on the door, and he ran downstairs to answer. Cubit Boy 2766 opened, and to his surprise saw the ghost costume, and was so frightened that he fell over onto the fancy floor, almost knocking over his vase. When Cubit Boy 2766 got up, Imperial Storm explained it was just a costume, and that there was nothing to worry about. They tried to convince him, and eventually finally did. Pixel said, "Was it because of the candy?" And Cubit Boy 2766 replied very quickly, "May have done a little bit with that candy, but man was that some really good candy." So they all went out and enjoyed the rest of their spooky Halloween night, going from house to house, seeing who would get more candy. After they all finished trick-or-treating, they came back to Cubit Boy 2766 house to watch a spooky movie, but little did they know, but the horrifying movie was about to come true. The end. Or is it? Dun dun dun! Okay, the next one is by Valley. It was a cold, stormy night in the land of Cubic Castles. Fog shadowed the Cubic town centre, leaving the fellow Cubies inside blindsighted. Poor little Timmy stumbled through the darkness trying to find the raffle box so he could insert his precious gold raffle token. He hit something hard and realised it was a door. He felt around to try and grasp the door handle. The door swung open and Timmy slowly tiptoed inside. He caught a glimpse of a light in the corner of the room. It was dimly lit jack-o'-lantern. Next to the lantern there was a black cat staring straight at Timmy. First Timmy thought of running away because the cat intimidated him with his eyes that were as black as night sky on a starless night. Instead, Timmy decided to approach the lonely cat. He checked his kennel and found he was level 0 and didn't have a name. Wow, I could make so many cubits if I sold this, Timmy thought. Timmy mined the cat and kept it in his inventory for safekeeping. Finally, Timmy found the raffle box. He put his token inside and crossed his fingers as a sign of good luck. He left and went back to his realm, which was decorated for Halloween. Ghosts floated about the place, orange leaves flew around, and candelabras illuminated the realm with a soft glow. Timmy placed the cat next to one of the candelabras and put a sign next to it saying, "Offer. Hollowarp, coming and buying my black cat for an offer." People flooded the realm, but no one wanted to buy him. The cat looked up at Timmy with pleading eyes. "Stupid cat," Timmy muttered. The next day, the raffle results were announced via the Cubic Castle's official forums. Timmy eagerly checked if it was him, but threw a horrific tantrum when he saw that he had not won. He spammed the forums with useless and angry complaints about how the raffle draw wasn't fair, and he was trying to force people to buy his black cat. Angry forumers reported him for spam, and Timmy got banned for a few days. Timmy was extremely mad at everyone, and he wanted to prove everyone that he was the best QB in the land. He spent a whole month collecting tokens for the next raffle prize, which was 500k. By the end of the month, Timmy had collected 105 tokens, which he then placed in the raffle box. He was still annoyed at the fact he hadn't sold the black cat. He set the price at 300k, which was very overpriced. He tried more hollers, but no one was interested. The poor black cat just wanted an owner and a nice place to live. He kept meowing throughout the nights to call for attention, but no one ever gave him any, except for the times when Timmy got out of bed to shut him up. The 500k raffle results came, and once again it was not Timmy. Timmy was even more angry. He went to his realm and screamed and shouted at the top of his lungs. For an hour, Timmy finally flopped down beside the cat. The cat purred at Timmy and began rubbing his head. "You are pretty cute, I must admit," Timmy said to the cat. In reply, that cat meowed slightly. Sigh. "I might just have to keep you." Timmy gave the cat a hug and decided to give him a name. He broke the kennel and replaced it. Timmy was discombobulated. He hadn't had to name anything before. He had felt responsible and mature having a pet. After some time, Timmy finally decided on the name Lucky. Timmy took the cat out for a walk around the lobby and introduced him to all his friends. Everyone loved Lucky. Timmy decided to apologise for his behaviour on the forums the previous week, and everyone forgave him. fit his one lucky token in the raffle box the day before the results would be drawn. He crossed his finger and gave Lucky a sausage. The next day the results were put up on the forums. Timmy excitedly opened the website and looked at the winner. He was shook when he saw it was him. He jumped up excited and rushed to Cubic Castles. A cube-shaped object sat in his inventory. He took a closer look and was presented with a black cat. Now he had two. Lucky looked up at Timmy with an excited expression plastered on his face. Timmy was one lucky boy. He was. He won a black cat and got a second black cat. That's pretty crazy. Okay, the next one is by Pickles 2001. The time has come. Are you ready? Grab your buckets, get your cubits, ready your costume, for it's time for Halloween. Cubies here, cubies there, cubies everywhere are preparing for the big night where they get all the candy their buckets can hold. Be careful though, for on this night, ghosts shall rise. Zombies will come out of their graves to frighten you. What's that? A black cat? Don't be frightened, it won't hurt you. Looking up in the sky, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a witch on a broomstick, flying through the air, spreading Halloween spirit. Tons of candy to collect. Candy bars, Reese's cups, candy corns and more. Oh, what candy galore. Jack-o'-lanterns lit. Carved in them are happy, surprised and scary faces. What was that noise? Oh, it was just the sound of a were-cubie howling at the full moon tonight. Be careful, for some say if you aren't careful you might encounter the ghost of the headless horse cubie, who haunts the overworld in search of his heads. Beware of vampires in the night sky. They're very hard to see. Deep in the forest, you'll find a cult of witches brewing potions in their bubbling cauldrons. Be careful you aren't seen by them. The town centre is decorated to celebrate Halloween. Bubbling cauldrons can be found slung with spider webs with spiders in them. And what's this? The fountain has turned into slimy fountains. Gross. Have a happy Halloween and remember to get as much candy as you can. That was a nice one. I enjoyed that. I don't know how to pronounce this, but this one is by Makiek 1226. Just like every Halloween, all the cubies walk around the neighbourhood and ask neighbours if they would get something sweet, but adults probably do not get to ask for sweets, right? That night, me, Jason and Kate, we were in a rental house on the Cubic Hill. We had fun, we drank like the adults do, it was fun, until we heard something. It was the sound of breaking glass. Did you hear that? I said. I think it was the sound of breaking glass, said Kate. We checked and saw the broken glass from the window and the floor. I went outside to check if someone is there. Upon entering back I saw Jason lying on the floor, all in his blood. I was in shock. What happened? There was someone upstairs with a knife, I think. Kate locked herself in the closet and she will not come out. I looked at my dying friend and did not believe my eyes. I had to help Kate. When I went upstairs I saw a masked person with a knife who started chasing me. I had to run away. I ran out and ran to the forest, falling into the swamp on my way. I think I lost him. Who the hell is he? I was all wet and had to rest. I sat on a fallen log. I have to go back. I cannot leave Kate there, I said. I started to come back after going upstairs. I opened the wardrobe, but no one was there. I started shouting, Kate, where are you, Kate? Nobody answered me. After the whole event I called the police and told them everything I knew. I told them about my friend's death. After giving evidence I was released home. From this on I never saw Kate again. What happened to her? Was she kidnapped? Or maybe she was behind all of this. No one knows. Short but sweet, I like it. Next one, Little Critter. The Cubie Haunting. Once upon a time there was an old, huge graveyard in Cubie Town, where cubies were organising rituals in an old shrine within the graveyard every Halloween. Those rituals were meant to bring back the spirits of the dead cubies from the afterlife. One day, before the ritual, Isabel, the daughter of the town's mayor, died. The whole town was embraced in grief and dismay. All the cubies from the town were called to the cathedral, where the mayor and 3 priests organised a gospel for Isabel. The gospel was during the whole night. The next day at 23:55 p.m, 12 cubies were seen bringing Isabel's corpse in the shrine. They all had a mark on their left shoulder. They were members of a secret cult that was organising all of those rituals. When they walked in, one of the cult members put Isabel's corpse on the altar. The members lit the candles placed around the altar, and so the ritual has begun. Alexander, the leader of the cult, said to the cult members, Here we are, brothers and sisters. Here we are praying for this young girl's soul to come back from the dead. We beg to death itself to return her soul to her body. 23:57, the cult started to sing a gospel. Darkest night, silent night, everything out of sight. The darkness keeps on growing, spirits keep on showing, the whispers keep on coming. She is death's prey, for her we shall pray. Darkest night, silent night, everything out of sight. The darkness keep on growing, spirits keep on showing, the whispers keep on coming. Young child, lost too soon, her life shall be resumed. And the midnight has arrived. The wind from outside bashed the door to the shrine. The candles have been extinguished by the wind. There was complete dark, and there were whispers heard, but the cult members stood in place. They weren't scared or nervous, but the whispers were getting louder and louder. But at 12:01, loud whispering of the souls suddenly stopped, and the wind stopped blowing. And then Isabel's body started floating in midair. She opened her eyes, and then the cult knew she was brought back to life. She quickly dropped on the altar, but then the cult members saw that her eyes were glowing red, and then she made a non-human screech, and then her arms transformed into razor-sharp claws. A demonic grin appeared on her face. Her teeth got sharp as well. Spikes started growing on her back, and then the cult knew that her soul wasn't pure. She transformed into a horrible beast and quickly ran to the cult leader, cutting his head off. Then all the cult members escaped from the shrine, but it was too dark for them to see outside, so they were stuck in a giant graveyard, being chased by the embodiment of Isabel's corrupted soul. She hunted down all the cult members one by one, then she devoured their bloody corpses. 6 a.m. she went to QB town to kill more QBs, and 10 years later the town was empty, with no one in there except the horrible beast. Since that, the tragedy, every Halloween, QBs from around the world, sitting around a campfire, were telling each other horrible stories about the QB town graveyard. Ooh. Spooky stuff. Real spooky stuff. Here is a poem by Nikki Lynn. Awakened by Nikki Lynn. As wolves howl against the full moon sky, lightning strikes down on Frankenstein, out to find his wife at the centre of town, only to find QBs buzzing around. Town centre filled with QBs of all nations, trick-or-treating spirits in every creation. Jack-o'-lanterns light yards of plenty, as QBs fill their bags with chocolate and candies. The wind brings bright orange autumn leaves as monsters crawl out of their eternal sleep. Awakened from the festivities above ground, they come as spiteful as starving wild hounds. Woe to those trick-or-treating tonight, as mummies crawl out of pyramids in white. The graveyard shifts, the zombies rise, the ghosts of past QBs won't be very nice. That's a nice poem. Okay. Do not open this spoiler. But I did, and it just says do not open. Is this your thing? It's your poem. You did the spoiler wrong. Okay. Hazard Man YT. Pumpkins are orange, ghosts are white, witches are green and give you a great fright. Zombies eat fish and never clean a dish. Monsters are seeking, finding its prey. Be careful so you don't get played. Don't get tricked, stumbled or shriek, or monsters will come and look and seek. Struggling to get free, you jump and shriek, the monsters come and you are nowhere to be. Yeah, I liked that one too, that was good. That was a good one. Okay, so the next one is by Chief Blue. Sorry for all the spoiler, just wanted to see how it works before I make a story. The next one's not by Chief Blue. The next one is in fact by... Okay. Contumus. Here is the story. By Contumus. I awoke with a jolt. It was an ordinary day. My friends were online doing their daily cubic business, but last night I had the worst dream. I dreamt that a monster had come into my realm. As I got up, I remembered I had arranged a Halloween party with my friends. Quick as a flash, I whipped on my pumpkin head, Montley pants, and Montley shirt. Dashing out of the door, I made my way to the lobby, but something was wrong. Where had my Krampus gone? My heart skipped a beat. Skip, 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 a beat. That was my most prized possession. So mortified as I was, I managed to leave the realm to find the mods. I was going to solve this mystery. First I went to Space Fetus. In his usual red robe and X, he was fairly easy to rely on, but when I was about to tell him about my problems, I hesitated. A tear trickled down his face. Soon an ocean of tears were leaking from his eyes, resulting in a very soggy robe. "What's the matter?" I inquired, wondering why he was so despondent. "It's my Krampus. They've vanished. All of them," he stuttered, clearly struggling to find his words. "That's weird. So is mine. Maybe someone or something has taken all the Krampuses for themselves. But why? Whatever the reason, we need to solve this. I'm a mod, and everyone will rely on me. What do you say we solve this together?" So with that, we left Space Fetus' realm and began searching around the whole overworld. Hours passed, and we couldn't even find a single trace. We began to lose hope. "We'll never solve this," sighed Space Fetus. At that moment, out the corner of my eye, I spotted someone whizzing past and leaping into a launch pad. "Hurry," I yelled. With speed demon free, Space and I sprinted as fast as our stubbly little QB legs could carry us. As if we were being chased by a pride of ravenous lions, hurling ourselves into the launch pad, we followed the suspicious QB. A few moments later we landed with a deafening crash, and all of a sudden we realised who had been stealing the Krampuses. Krampus Claus. So you found me, he boomed. I thought I would make a little visit at Halloween. It's my turn to get free Krampuses. Give them back, Space and I yelled in unison. Only if you can beat me in a PvP match. Prove yourselves worthy. Winner takes all. Speed of light, I whipped out my trusty harm wand. Bam, bam, bam. Within a few seconds, Krampus Claus was nothing but a pile of Krampuses. We grabbed them and returned them to all of the depressed cubies that had lost them, and they were elated. Everyone was happy, and the evil monster was never coming back. Or was he? That was a good one. I liked the fact that I had Krampuses, because I don't actually own a Krampus. Which is strange. I should probably own a Krampus. I'm going to get a Krampus. I didn't like the fact that I was crying, though. I ain't no pussy. Right. Hey, Cass. Hey, Cass? Hey, Cass. Okay, let's do it. Hi, Cass the doll. On her birthday, Lucia was awakened by her stepmother bringing her a large parcel received by the post office and addressed to her. Excited by the package, the girl quickly unwrapped the package and was horrified by its contents, for inside the box was the most disgusting doll she had ever seen. The doll was old, completely bald, its skin cracked and covered in dust, but worst of all was the mouth of the toy that had long, sharp teeth, as if they were prey of an animal. With a chill running through her body, the child threw the doll on the floor towards a corner. At the same moment, her stepmother caught her attention, saying that someone should have had work to send her this old doll, and for this she should be grateful. Lucia tried to protest, but her stepmother did not want to hear her, and forced her to continue with the doll, refusing to throw the toy away. Not to contradict her stepmother, the child shoved the doll into a closet under the stairs, right behind a pile of shoes, where she would not have to look at that ugly thing. After a few nights, Lucia was lying on bed when she heard a noise. It was a strange sound she could not identify. The noise ceased and continued for a few minutes. Now she could see that the sound was as if it were walking with small steps. Lucia was shaking in her bed, unable to move. She always slept with the door open to take advantage of the light coming from the corridor, for she was dying for the dark. Soon it seemed that he heard a voice looking at her from the corridor. Lucia, I'm on the 5th step. The child, completely terrified, covered her head with blankets and trembled with fear, but the sound stopped suddenly. That night, Lucia could not sleep anymore and stayed under the covers until dawn, when her stepmother entered the room to wake her. Lucia told the story of her stepmother, who explained that this must have been a nightmare. Even so, the child begged the stepmother to let her throw the old doll away, when she insisted that the toy had been her gift and she should keep it. Stepmother still went to the closet and showed her that the object was in the same place as usual. Disconcerted, Lucia went on to say to herself that it was all a dream. That night, Lucia tried to stay awake for as long as she could, but soon she was overcome by fatigue. After a while, she was awakened by a muffled voice that read, Lucia, I'm on the 10th step. Again, the child put the blanket on the head and began to cry in fear, not sleeping more that night. As if from another time, the sound of the voice was over and she heard nothing until dawn. At school, Lucia told her friends about the doll, but everyone laughed and made jokes about her. Lucia then figured that if the doll went up 5 steps a night, the next she would reach the top of the stairs and face her room. Terrified, Lucia decided to sleep with her bedroom door closed and the lights on. When his stepmother came into the room to give him a good night, he asked why she had closed the door. Lucia then asked if she could leave the light in her room on, instead of leaving the door open to take advantage of the hallway light. But his stepmother told him that the room light was too strong, and that would not let him sleep. That way, Lucia agreed to sleep with the lights off and the door closed. Not to be completely dark, she opened the curtains to try to light up her room a bit. As soon as she began to doze, she started to hear a noise, and then the voice came, clearer and louder than at other times. Lucia, I'm at the top of the stairs. In the darkness of her room, she saw the door open slowly. The next morning, the little girl's body was found at the bottom of the stairs. They imagined that she would have gone to the bathroom during the night, stumbled and fallen down the stairs, breaking her neck. Beside the child, an old doll had been found. His stepmother had asked her to be buried with the toy. She loved this doll so much. Now they can be together forever, said the stepmother. That's a lie. She hated that doll. I know, I read it. Okay. So, the next one is by Mariner. 'Twas Halloween night. Angel, I'm home. Hello, G-Dog. While I was out digging in the yard looking for my bone, I found a map. Angel, a map? What kind of map? G-Dog, I don't know. It looks like a treasure map. It reads, through the mushrooms and thorns, through the thick bog under a lily, you'll find a frog. Not the frog that you want, but the treasure that's inside. Beware, the treasure comes with a price. Angel, what do you think it means? G-Dog, I don't know, but for some reason I think it wants me to head to Sir Cubert's deep forest. Angel, oh please don't go, G-Dog, come on, it could be something very valuable and we could use the qubits. Angel, okay, but you better be back soon. So then G-Dog headed out. G-Dog was gone for 12 months. Angel was very worried. She thought he had got lost in the dense forest, but exactly the night he left he came back. He had a bag. The bag was all black, looked like it had been on a fire. His eyes were glowing purple and he just smiled at me. I asked him what was the matter. He just kept glaring at me. Then he started laughing. Suddenly dropped the bag and ran out the door. She looked into the bag and there it was lying on the floor. It was a weird looking top hat, more like the rest. She put it on to test. Started changing shape and colour as she moved. One step it was a wizard's hat, the next it was a halo. Suddenly her eyes turned purple. She too started laughing. She was wearing the mysterious knoll, the one sought out in legends. It was Halloween night the next year when the QB knocked on the door. Angel just started grinning and opened the door. The little QBs were scared, not knowing what to expect. Suddenly, chomp! There was no scream. One swift move, the small QB had been eaten. So this day they say you knock on the wrong door, it could be your last. Angel and G-Dog are still lurking behind the mysterious quest doors. If you pick the wrong one, then you will join the other QBs in the belly of G-Dog or Angel. So as you are trick-or-treating the scary night, be careful, you might get a fright. Wow, okay. So the knoll makes you eat people at Halloween. You've got to be careful with that. That would be bad. You don't want to be eaten by that. Okay. Here is the story by Graceful Thunder. I've made coffee because this was taking so long that I needed a caffeine boost to invigorate me. Because reading is hard work, especially out loud. Okay, The Artist Witch by Graceful Thunder. The terrified scream of a QB could barely be heard over a deafening crack of thunder. She was dressed in a pilgrim shirt, skirt, and bonnet. These did little to help her in the pouring rain. She was soaked to her bone. Her heart beated wildly. The QB looked up just in time to see lightning fork its way across the dark sky. She hugged her arms to her body, trying to stay warm as she stumbled through the forest, looking for anything that could offer her shelter. The next flash of lightning offered her some hope, but it revealed a large mansion. Without thinking, she made a dash to the building and immediately tripped over a large tree root, falling face first into a puddle. She got up as quickly as she could and made her way towards the mansion, this time being a little more careful. She did not notice the bony hand that stretched out of the puddle, almost grabbing her skirt. The QB walked hastily up the steps into the mansion's large double door. Shivering, she lifted a hand to knock. Before her hand could touch the door, however, it swung open. "Thanks," she whispered to whoever may have done it. All she was concerned with now was finding a way to get warm. She found herself standing in a grand room with a large staircase. Many paintings of various sizes and of different QBs lined the wall. Above her, a large chandelier swung back and forth gently. To her left, an open doorway seemed to invite her, as she could see the lights from dancing flames on the wall. The QBs walked quickly into the room and was delighted to find a fireplace standing before it. She stretched out her cold white hands to warm them. The storm continued to rage outside, but she felt better for now. Turning her head, she began to take in her surroundings. The large old house creaked and groaned in the wind caused by the storm. Now that her eyes had adjusted to the light, she could clearly see the room she was in. It appeared to be some kind of study. Shelves of books lined one wall, flowery wallpaper coated the rest. Above a short hickory desk, a large painting of a gentleman seemed to look down on her with a disappointed stare. But wait, his eyes really were following her movements as she tries to dry herself in front of the fire. The girl felt a chill run down her spine as her white QB face somehow became even more pale. Behind her, the door to the study slammed shut. The QB hardly had time to gasp in horror before the man slowly slipped out of the painting and stepped down to walk towards her. The QB took a few steps backward, then realized that the fire was right behind her. Suddenly, a doorway opened in the bookshelves. The QBs gathered her skirt and ran as fast as she could into the doorway. The man was right on her heels, but appeared to have been thwarted by the doorway closing itself again just as suddenly as it had opened. The QB glanced in all directions, trying to make out any shape in the pure darkness. In the far corner of the hidden room, a candle lit itself. The QB hesitantly began to walk towards it. Just as she reached it, a horrible shapeless thing pounced out of the darkness, grabbing the candle. The QB held it in front of her and shut her eyes tightly. She waited, tense, for the thing to hit her. When it did not, she opened one eye and then the other. It had collapsed into a melted back puddle of paint on the floor. The girl let out a sigh of relief. She held up the candle, trying to see more of the room. She wanted a way out of this mansion, even if it meant going back out into the rain. The candlelight fell upon a door a few paces away. The QB walked towards it, looking warily around and holding out a candle in hopes that it would ward off any potential attacks. She opened the door slowly and found a narrow staircase that wound around and up. The QB ascended the staircase, listening carefully for the slightest noise. The old stairs creaked beneath her feet. After a few minutes of walking, she reached the door. The staircase still wound further upwards, but she wanted to see what this door might hold. To her surprise and delight, when she opened the door, she found herself looking out into the dark night. The rain had slowed. Glancing around, the QB saw the ladder that she could use to climb down from this hidden door. She set the candle down and lowered herself onto the ladder, beginning to descend. However, as she neared the bottom of the ladder, she became keenly aware of something or someone breathing in the darkness. She stopped and looked around, then down. Her gaze met a pair of glowing green eyes below her, and then another, and another. A flash of now distant lightning revealed a pack of wolves. Terrified, the QB began to quickly climb up again. To her dismay, the wolves began to climb too, and with more ease than her. As soon as she reached the top, the girl blindly ran up the stairs, forgetting the candle. She could hear the wolves' feet as they hit the stairs behind her. They were getting closer and closer. Suddenly, the QB saw a door ahead of her open. There was a light in the room ahead. With one last sprint and jump, she threw herself into the room just as the wolves were upon her. The door slammed shut behind her, stopping the wolves in their tracks. The QB sat up slowly, panting, and tried to calm herself. Looking up, she saw that another QB stood by the door, locking it. The QB was dressed in a blue shirt and what is wrong with me? A blue shirt and blue flower skirt. On her face was a pair of nerd glasses, and her hair was grey and pulled back in a low bun. The woman smiled comfortingly at the girl. "I really am sorry about the rude awakening, dear. I hope you are not too frightened." "No, of course not," the girl stammered politely. She looked around at the room they were in and noted that it was a large bedroom. An old-fashioned four-poster bed stood in the centre. Some desks and bookshelves stood beside the walls, and an expensive-looking rug lay on the floor. In one corner, an easel with a black canvas awaited use. A frame leaned against one of the two chairs near the easel. The most interesting thing about the room, however, were the many paintings on the wall. There was something about them that made the girl curious, though she couldn't put a non-existent finger on it. The woman helped the girl to her feet, then walked towards the easel. "Come, have a seat," she urged. She seated herself on the chair in front of the easel and motioned to the other chair. The girl walked slowly to the other chair and sat down. The woman looked the young QB up and down for a moment before nodding approvingly and smiling. "Perfect." She pulled a tray of paint bottles close to herself and opened them, then leaned forward and began to paint on the canvas. The girl looked around the room again, fidgeting a little. She wasn't sure what the woman was up to, and she wasn't sure if she was supposed to say something. She began to feel oddly stiff and even a little sleepy. Suddenly the paintings on the wall seemed to be coming to life. The QBs in the frames moved from their positions and began knocking on the inside of their paintings like doors. Their faces held various expressions of fear and horror. Their voice began to fill the girl's head. Get up! Run! Don't let her paint you." "Miss," the girl said softly, "I don't feel so well." "Oh, don't worry about it, dear," the woman continued painting, and the girl began to feel trapped. The woman looked up at her and smiled, but this time there was a glint of evil in her eyes. "Stay still, my darling. Soon you'll become one of them." And as she spoke, the frame beside the chair lifted the frozen girl from her seat and placed her into the canvas. She fit right into place. The woman stood and lifted her new artwork up. She walked to the wall and hung it up, then stood back to admire it. As she did, her appearance changed. She no longer looked like a sweet old QB. Instead, her now elaborately arranged hair was orange. She saw a white dress and an evil grin. Let this be a warning to all QBs, never visit the artist witch's mansion on Halloween. Ooh, that was a good story. I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. A really good job. A Blind Helper by Cool Guy Boss. He is a cool guy, and also he is the boss. Of what? It doesn't say. We can only assume. On one scary night, a QB decided to go to bed on the night of Halloween. Little did he know there would be something waiting for him. Around 2:30 a.m., Mr. Johnson woke up from his sleep from a loud bang at his window. He went to go check on the window, but nothing was there. He brushed it off and fell back asleep. Around 3:15 a.m., another loud bang had happened. Mr. Johnson woke up and this time just looked at the window. He saw a figure with a knife scratching at his window. He was frozen with fear as the figure slammed his hand on the window, breaking it. The figure crawled into his room and said, "Shh, don't tell." Then the figure crawled out and started running. Still frozen, Mr. Johnson called the police. The police arrived at around 3:45 a.m. Told the police everything that had happened. The police went outside looking for whoever it may have been. Out of nowhere, you hear screams from the backyard and a scary laugh.
Then the figure crawls back into the room and says, "Shh, don't tell." Then again crawls out and runs away. Still, Mr. Johnson decided to call his wife, who was out of town at the time. His wife didn't answer. She was most likely asleep. He decided to go to sleep, but in the basement, away from all the windows. 2 days later, Mr. Johnson's wife returned home around 1 a.m. from her trip to Chicago. He decided to tell her everything in person. She was freaked out and looked at the windows. There was a figure at the window staring at her. Mr. Johnson turned around and turns back to Miss Johnson and tells her to go downstairs and redial the police. When she gets downstairs, Mr. Johnson looks back at the window and sees nothing. Then very faintly you hear screams for help from the basement. Warning to all QBs, don't tell anyone about your experience of the blind helper. He will attack anyone you tell and turn them into QB stew. Wow, that took a dark turn. He turns them into QB stew? Is killing them not enough? It was oh, it was scary. It was scary. Okay. Fire Angel 17, Candy Craze. In the land far away cubic world, there lies a little QB boy. Now this little QB was so happy to go out and get some candy on Halloween night, but his mum had other plans for him. The QB boy didn't want to do what his mum asked him to do, but his mum made him a deal that if he did what she asked, she would let the little QB go out on his own to get candy, as well as his mum going to the store and getting more for him. The QB happily accepted and asked his mum what he needed to do. She told him that he needed to do his chores, which is cleaning the house. The little QB got right to his chores, and after 2 hours he was done. He got dressed in his favourite cubic costume and headed out the door. He managed to stop at 20 houses before no more lights were on. He was quite sad since he did not have a lot of candy. He headed back home, and once he opened the door, candy came rushing out and his mum yelled surprise. He was so excited he dove right in and started eating. He thanked his mum with a hug, and they both ate candy all night. Oh, that was a sweet one. There was no scary things and everyone had a good time, which I hear can happen on Halloween. So that's good stuff. Okay, the next one is a short story by Flame Rock. Okay, let's read this. It's called The Slime King. In a town called Corblin, known for its peace, were 3 scientists named John, Lawrence and Adam. They were currently working on a new element discovered, Slimeogen. It was an element that could automatically bond with great numbers. When testing it, Lawrence fell in. All were worried of the unknown side effects. When Lawrence stood back up, he looked different. Slime was all over him, and he seemed corrupt. Suddenly he muttered the same line 3 times in a row, roaring them stronger and stronger. Before the 3, a portal of some sort opened, bringing out a wand made for the weary necromancer's wand. He mumbled another line, and off he went, John and Adam unknown of his location. After researching the creature known as the slime, they found that they liked to live in caves, loved eating cubies and rotten cabbage, who knew, and could be killed by water. There were 2 caves in Corbin, Haddonfield and North Genesee. They checked North Genesee first and found nothing. Haddonfield, however, was a different story. From a distance you could hear multiple plop sounds. Knowing they needed a way to defeat the icky monsters, they created a knockback wand and they got some water. They ventured in the cave, and not that deep in was Lawrence, muttering out order to his peasants. He quickly recognised John, who made no attempt to hide himself, unlike Adam. Adam, while John distracted the king, knights and peasants, snuck up behind and placed some water, in time with the hopping of the slimes. John then got out his wand, forgetting the power Lawrence contained in his hand. He had both the command of his creation and the necromancer wand. John fiercely took the first shot, however each shot was just taken by a knight or a peasant. John was clearly frustrated. Adam thought that if John couldn't get to Lawrence, maybe he could from behind. Out of the blue, he took Lawrence by the neck and took him into the water. The slime around his body instantly dissolved, and soon did the other slimes. Corbin was saved due to 2 brave scientists not fearing what monsters lay in the dark. The end. The next one is by Victor 9090. Oh god, this is a long one. Okay. It was October. I woke up at 7 PM because I was taking a nap after playing Cubic Castles too much. Then I noticed that there was lots of trees with spooky decorations, and from the window I saw one of my friends asking for candy. Got my sub-vampire outfit and ran downstairs, and my friend Platinum Man was already at my door with his mummy outfit. Platinum. Boo. Victor. Yeah, come on, never do that again. Platinum. Ha, okay. And I got to admit that I took a little scare.
We got to ask for candies in other houses, but then I saw some cubies walking for a mansion in the top of a mountain, which I never got to explore. Platinum, isn't that the haunted mansion that mini ghost built? Victor, I think so. Let's check. We decided to go there with other players. They were friends, Nix and JPMB 2017. JPMB, yo, Nix, hey. Victor and Platinum, hey guys. Victor, you guys are here to explore the mansion too, am I right? Nix, yep, we saw it yesterday and decided to come here. Platinum, let's go then. When we got there, we saw some graves and the door was opened. Victor, mind, the door is open. Kinda weird, nobody came with us. I guess. JPMB, let's go there. I entered in the house, with my friends coming after. I saw a mini-ghost going upstairs to the house. There were 2 guys with sub-vampires hidden on a door too. Victor whispered to Platinum, is it mini-ghost? Platinum replied, I think so. Platinum gave a step, the wood creaked and I looked back to him. He disappeared, and nobody noticed. Just me. Victor, guys, Nix, what? Where's Platinum? Dunno, he disappeared somehow, and the door closed. Mini-ghost and the other 2 wasn't on the 2nd floor anymore. We were alone. Victor, let's go upstairs and search for Platinum. JPMB, I thought it was a decorated house and looks like it's not what we thought. Nix feels something touching his back. Guys, is there something on my back? Victor, don't move. Nix. ... There was a guy in a red cloak with a wand pointing to Nix. Stay where you are, said the guy with the cloak with a deep voice. We could only see a white eye on his face, covered by a cowl. I immediately noticed it was Space Fetus. He put his wand inside his robe. Space, you have 60 minutes to leave. Welcome to the death. Space swinged his robe and disappeared. Victor, okay, we have 60 minutes to find Platinum and an exit door to the house here. Nix, probably there are traps here. I started to climb the stairs. I went through the stairs and entered in a dark room. Phantom phoned, as what I expected. Meanwhile, where Nix and JP are. JPMB, Victor disappeared. Nix, he fell into a trap. As I said, there are traps here. Let's find an exit. Victor will probably find Platinum where he are. Back to Victor. It's complete darkness here. I see a light far away, a red light. Finally, a light. There's a cubie there, I wonder who. It's a mummy with red eyes. Victor, Platinum? Platinum, Victor, is it you? Victor, yeah. Platinum runs to me. Victor, let's find an exit to the tunnel. Probably it'll be easier to find. Platinum, mate, do you have a wand? Victor, yeah, why? Platinum, slimes. Lots of them. I only have a single heart now and I don't want to risk. Victor, you're lucky that you have me now. I'm a wand master. Lies. Started running to a green light with Platinum after me. There's like 30 slimes on the floor, all jumping and bumping on the wall. Gave some shots, 25 left. More. 17 left. Even more. 8 left. After a last shot, I killed them all. Victor, it's safe now. Platinum, okay. Victor's mind. Why did Minighost build this hell? Back to Nix and JMP. On the kitchen. JPMB, there's too much knives here. Nix, yep. There's a door in the corner of the room. They look to it and it opens mysteriously. Nix, I'll act like nothing happened. Nix looks at his watch. 43 minutes left. JPMB, let's go to the door, even if I feel something bad about this. Nix, K. They entered on a small room. There were some tables flipped on the entire place. JP grabbed a note that was sticked on one of them. If I was you, I would leave from this room in a rush. The door closed, and then they noticed that there was a cubie's head on the floor and the rest of his body sticked with the wall. Nix, we're gonna die. Spikes came from the walls, a grey with green. Poison. JPMB, if we touch it, instant death. Back to Victor and Platinum. Stairs remind it's a deadly house, so it's probably a trap. Victor, try to find a passage on the walls. Platinum, K. After a long time trying, there's nothing. 37 minutes left. Victor, damn, time sure flies. Platinum, what do you mean? Victor, look, Platinum, ... They didn't have another option. They started to go upstairs. Victor, I'm pretty surprised that we're here on the stairs for like 5 minutes and no traps. Platinum, yeah. And that's the end, apparently. Okay, I feel like maybe he didn't get to finish, but I enjoyed what I read. It was good. Okay, the next one is by Certainly Not Sonar. Okay. Yeah, I'm coming to town with my sub-vamp mask. You know it's Halloween, you don't even need to ask. Got my mummy shirt which is looking really sweet, and don't forget my mummy pants, they're pretty hard to beat. Holding a spider umbrella which fits the outfit just right. I'm sitting thinking to myself, oh what a night. Looking my best, I went out into the lobby. Some random cubie even asked, is dressing up your hobby? Pumpkins, cobwebs, spirit lamps galore. Cubic Castle's Halloween can never be a bore. Short and sweet. I like it. Okay, here is Tiny Pup 34's. It's called Halloween Night. The night draws near when some shed tears. The scares are real, the shakes are the meal. Monsters desire the tears that we perspire, for it fills them with glee when we shed them, yes sire. When the night is done and the candy none, the monsters feed on the tears we bleed. They munch and crunch, a funny bunch, our stomachs quake at their mistakes. We think they are wry, but they are sly, for we are the beasts, on the fated night we come to feast. And that's the end of that. Again, another short and sweet one. And this next one is by Dash Gummy Gash. His footsteps resonated in the empty warehouse, a topaz of the weirdest tone. From here, although this is far away, I feel a vibration that makes my bones sleep. The fear is so big and so bad that a heart full of love I offer. If I could flip the hourglass for the last time, I would go back to the time where that petal of rose I gave to you, now withered There's no time for love. On this day there is no time for the tricolour. To these monsters who our lives torment, happiness is now. If the steps of this day die a final return to the reconciliation with my spiritual self of my mortal body, until the day I turn this love into something irregular, my heart to a foreign body. For more than the time it was, for what was inside never succeeded in punishing, for the past where inside each piece of my growing a small root, to grow those smiles full of quarrel. The bad stays and the good moves away, the more difficult it is. The more it waits for you, what is behind the smelly corpse, it is the truth of what is damaged. If you want to know what is behind the great wall, observe the mystery creatures of sometimes 8 eyes. The end came from that day, which would not have been reborn. What I want to be this day is the darkest, where was the dead was alone, was at rest. From the earth the begotten, the dead that was alive, now what matters is the magic of creativity. The road, the illumination my loss, with paper figures and jack-o'-lanterns. At dawn what is finished remains engraved inside the sealed heart. Very, very poetic. Not a lot to do with Cubic Castles though, but very poetic. Okay, the next one is by Rin Shiraku. Here we go. It's called Enigmatic Voice. Why can't no one understand? Can't even give a second glance on me. Bone-cracking sounds were made, as outcries of other innocent cubies were echoing. Such a magnificent sound. Do you care if I tell you a scary story? The voice stated. While you could hear the screeches and boisterous sounds, the raspy voice continued to narrate while it cachinates. Quite a curious mortal. Haha, now let me tell you something very... It stopped. Its sentence, everything has gone silent. You are paralysed. You can't budge even a single finger. Look at the female cubie, the voice said with a stridulous tone. Anger was sensed in its tone. She's always with her onyx-coloured cat. Couldn't have a second even to gander at me. She doesn't realise I was already peering at her, scrutinising her appearance at the window. It's her fault she gave such a... I do not know what that word is. Polchritudinous face. This struck you with bemusement within the voice story as it continues. And another one. Haha, in an amicable Halloween night, so many cubies were dancing, setting up lanterns, Halloween-themed ornaments and more, while they trick-or-treating buoyantly. And oh, they were so busy that they wouldn't even realise I was there the whole time. How comprehensive behaviour had they done? I was left dumbfounded. Haha. Is this apophthegm or not? What do you think? You were taken back, all your confidence was down to your esophagus, which you could not spit out no reply. I see. Well, that's tell you something about you. Look how busy you are reading this. You didn't even realise I was already behind you. Luckily there's a wall behind me, so I'm safe. Well, yeah. I'm going to have to look up those words, because there's 2 words in there that I do not know. Or how to pronounce, so I'm going to find out about that, and that is my homework for in a bit. Spoko Oko. What have you written for me? I will read it now. One day, 2 unsuspecting players went to kick the resources. They were not too rich, and they had to earn some money from the local nobility. They were farmers by profession, but they wanted to try something new. They were young and hungry for adrenaline. That's why they went at night. They got the most of the rally, which was very difficult to access, and it could be attained only in one mine. Mrugzigona mine. They secretly left the house, sneaking in next to sleepers, and ran to this mine. It was a lot of legends, with a great monster always hanging in the hallway, and that they did not have scruples. They went there on this day. They walked and finally found something, sincere gold. It shone on their faces. They realized chat balloons with smiles. They destroyed, and then came a terrible computer error called Bag. One escaped in a hurry, leaving his precious prey, but the other did not have so much luck, for Bag caught him, and blocked him, and the block of grass. The first ran, and saw the passing Mew Mew opposite him. Then he thought that they were overrun by black cats. They bring bad luck. So it happened. Soon he was terrified of Bag. Luckily, at the end, the moderator finally came in and repaired Bag, saving a weathered noob. Moral is that black cats do not always bring bad luck, and certainly not Mew Mew, because he was the only one who knew the one who woke up, and this awakened moderator. After this horrible experience, the poor noob returned to the house and told about all the parents. It's a pity the friend did not have so much luck, he thought. Yeah, this black cat, he saved me. What are you talking about? Does not matter. Poor man could not live without help, and then he heard meowing. Scars them know only from where? He heard them stronger and harder, and finally he appeared to him. Black Mew Mew. Wow, what a lot of you. I think you have a 49 level. They played for a while, and Noob wanted to come back, but Mew Mew still followed him. I think I have to look after him, he thought. He saved my life last time. After a few days, Noob saw Mew Mew meow for a fossil encounter. Months enrich, and at the end of the day, Noob called Mew Mew Oreo. Do you think that's the end? You got so nice, and that's horror. So unfortunately, Oreo had other plans, Hack agree, and banned the poor Noob, just like the others who stood in his way. He had deprecated old admins and mods and subjected him to terrible torture. Sad end, but it's a cat, so he dropped everything from every table in the world. Thank you. If only I won such Mew Mew, I would be happy. I would call him Oreo. Okay, next story. Okay, moving on to page 5. Amber Leah. Okay. In this story, Space Fetus made an event. We're trying to get the grand prize, but little did they know, read more to find out. Sorry if you don't think it's good, disclaimer, I just wanted to try this new event. Here we go. October 24th. Today, Space Fetus makes a Halloween event. Not just an event, but there is a reward. Can you guess it? Candy. Not just any candy. The only candy in Cubic Castle that gives you a Halloween bucket. Once you eat the candy, the Halloween bucket will appear in your inventory. Everyone wanted the reward. October 25th is the next day. We all check on Cubic Castle's forums. We see the event. We all rush to Space Fetus's realm. There were so many of them we couldn't find the right one. Then we all see a mansion. No, not those big, fancy, expensive mansions. An old, rusty, ancient, haunted mansion made by Space Fetus. Unfortunately, the haunted mansion had a caution tape. Taped between the fences of the house's porch. We were all dejected, glum, sorrowful. We all went back to our realms, hoping it would open again tomorrow. October the 26th. It's a day we hope. Hoping in our heads, our hearts. We go to the haunted mansion once again. Some girl screams. We thought she was in trouble. We all head to where the screams came from. Then we saw. The haunted mansion was open. Yay, a girl screams. Yay, a boy screamed. Everyone screamed with happiness. Then we all went inside. It was really dark, but there were some lanterns on the side of the walls. There was a parkour we had to do. After we did that, there was a sign. No, just an ordinary sign. A sign that leads us to the grand prize. It says, 1 to go. There's 2 ways. Trust your instincts and you shall go to the right path. There were 2 paths. We wondered which one is right. Either way, it doesn't matter. Why, you ask? Because it said trust your instincts. Well, no, the paths are blocked with caution tape. So we sat there and waited. Luckily, we brought some food from our bags. We wondered if we had to wait a couple of days. October the 31st. It's been 5 days. When will this open? A boy asked while grunting. Hey, I asked. What? The boy replied. Do you know what day it is? It's October the 31st. It might open since it's Halloween, I said excitedly. The boy grunted and scoffed. Yeah, I doubt that someone is inside the path that is covered with tape, the boy said. Footsteps. Do you guys hear that? The girl asked. Everyone on the ground that was sleeping woke up. Everyone was shaking and terrified. Hello, I said. My voice echoed in the room, and I heard a reply. I tried to listen closely since everyone was whimpering and making some noise. Hello, are you guys looking for the grand prize? She said softly. I didn't quite understand what she said. Didn't want to be rude, so I just randomly said, yes. Then she said, would you want me to cut open the tape from the inside? I can get the grand prize because I was disqualified because I sneaked in too early. I got a little happy. I wondered what she said before, but anyways I said, yes. Everyone stopped shaking, stood up and was ready to run. The girl decided to go to the left side and everyone else followed her. You guys ready? She asked. Everyone said yes. I didn't want to follow them, so I had to go to the right side of the path. October the 31st, 8 p.m, cut noise. The very strong tape was cut. Everyone started to run as fast as they could. I couldn't see them because everyone was on the other side while I was on the right side. Even though I couldn't see, I can tell they were trying to run really fast because we didn't just stay here for almost a week for nothing. I was almost there. I could feel the candy in my hand. I could smell that amazing scent of candy. I was... here? Where's the candy? I asked. I see a glass window for the other side. The others could see me. Everyone was upset. I got it. I didn't expect I would get it, but I don't see the candy. The boy told me that the candy must be in that painted jar. I opened the top of the jar. It didn't feel heavy. It was very, very light, as if nothing was inside. What's this? I asked. Everyone asked, what's inside? What is it? Is it a candy? I was confused. It was a small piece of folded paper. I unfolded the paper. What does it say? Is a candy inside the paper? What is it? Is it bad? Everyone kept asking. It says, trick or trick. I told them the word trick was all capitals. This whole time this was a trick. Then we wonder, how are we going to get out of here? Well, we never know. Guess we're stuck. Oh, you got tricked by the new event, and now you're stuck. That's not good at all. Well, the next one is by Imperial Storm. And it's called The Day QB's Gotta Change. What sort of change? I guess we'll find out. Once upon a time, the time of the Halloween era, Halloween was the national day of Halloweenism, celebrated by the most horrific and evil QBs around. Every QB loved Halloween, and they celebrated it by spooking others and opening packs. Usually, Halloweenist emperors and almighty gods called Sir Gubeth and Cosmic Cow prepared a plasma hunt, so that their loyal QBs could capture those plasms which mix up their emotions. They made them feel flowery. How do you feel flowery? Just a question. Angry, stormy, or like every day depending on which plasm attacks their minds. The god introduced the legendary duo of plasm hunting hats. They consisted of a hat which attracts plasms and another that keeps them away. They built traps and even glass cages that could trap them forever and be a museum for QBs. But this year, the mighty gods announced that they would not be keeping plasm hunting because they felt really sad about them. Rather decided to give QBs opportunities to look for candy and get a nice hat. That was a nice story. Nice and short. Some of the short ones are really good. I'm enjoying them. The next one is by XX Cosmic _ Gods XX. One stormy midnight, QBs were getting ready for Halloween, and then they had seen something they shouldn't have. It was the ghost of a Slime King. He had come to haunt QBs for Halloween. Then he showed up. It was him. The saviour who had access to all power cubes. He seemed to remember everything. He had power not QB could access, even beyond his creator. The battle had begun, but this beginning could where his beginning ends. Ah, another nice short one. Awesome 9000. A poem. Ring-a-ding, said the doorbell. The sound scared me and I almost fell. My first year of no Halloween. I was tired of hearing little kids scream. I walked to the door and there they were for sure, saying trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. I started to hum and gave them some gum before slamming the door and saying no more. Went back to my room so that I could resume my building cubic castles. They are always such hassles. But it was such a fun game, even I had no fame. All the endless opportunities and the fun community made this game never be lame. So I sat in my room feeling everything but gloom as I played till midnight on that Halloween night. Ignoring the kids begging for candy, I started to build my castle. That was Sandy. That one was a good poem. I enjoyed it. The next one is by Cubic Game Master 2, A QB's Halloween Night. Tick tock, it is time for now to get out of the mine, where the sinister moon fully shine. Tonight better get ready, for time is really passing by. Putting them on a mask and a batwing, first go to Jido's kennel as I sing. Oh my, here he is, wearing his costume with such a twist, reaching a hand, not being too dandy, giving to me sweet bone made with candy. Bidding farewell, it feels like a dream, but look here, it's super extreme. Terrifying his costume indeed, handing me some sweets with no greed. Such in awe, I'm impressed, sharing candies even when he's headless. To Cubit Town I go on my way, heart beating fast so I silently pray. Soon from the Milky Way, Space Fetus came, floating like a ghost with no shame. Boo, he says, in my current state, leaving me a bunch of mushroom chocolates. Reaching Cubit Town, there's a crowd to see, asking for candies, those cubies like me. Later I see Angel with a sack at her back, in her outfit complete with a witch's hat. With her as a wolf, oh it's Sir Cubeth, showing us candies with such effort. All celebrating the night of Halloween, everyone is enjoying. It is such a scene. Laughters that echo through the night, mixing with emotions of fun and fright. The night is young, there's still time to play, but first hear what I'm about to say. Being with everyone here is such a treat, come and join us here in the street. Gathering with everyone without a hassle, 'tis fun here playing here in Cubic Castles. I liked that. That was a good poem. And I was in it, which is always kind of nice. I like being in things. Okay, here's a story by Asma M. That was a Halloween night. Just a Halloween night, when old kids beg for candies, and even if you don't want to give them sweets, they will threaten to kill you. I was already teen, but my parents sent me to collect candies with babies, so they not get lost. They were really scared. We was entering to random realms. We only walked 3 realms, but they already tired. They was like, I'm tired, my hand hurts, my candy basket too heavy for me, and you know what? I had to carry all their candies. We don't go long, but now it was hard for me. Cubies was running, jumping, playing games, they was having fun. But I don't have fun to carry these heavy baskets. I walked and I walked, then I stumbled and I dropped all the basket with candies on a puddle. Children look at me. They was looked shocked and angry. Then cubies start turning into monsters. Some of them turned into werewolves, some turned to sub-vampire, and others turned to zombies. I was really, though, they will kill me, but they run away like they're afraid of someone who was behind me. I don't see anything, but in this realm was darkness stump. I only see red eyes far from me. That was the sub-vampire's eyes. The one who was behind me made sound. Meow. I screamed strongly. It was first time when I was so scared. I turned back. That was just a black Mew Mew cat jumping on me. I wake up. That was a nightmare. Me. Haha, that was just a dream. Black Mew Mew was looking at me through the window and say, just dream. Now you always were afraid of Cubic Castles in Halloween. But Mew Mew says it in his thoughts. Now that Black Mew Mew watching you in your realm. Happy Halloween in Cubic Castles. There's another good one. Everyone's done a really good job this year. These are really good stories. Oh, who's gone and broken the thread? Now I've got to stretch it all out. Okay, here we go. Another poem. Logged on in a creepy place. Oh, sorry. This is called D's Nuts. Logged on in a creepy place, Cubies wearing creepy clothes, staring into spook days. What will happen? No one knows. Cubic Town is where I've gone to find where is everyone. But I saw what's going on. Halloween has now begun. Various cubies wore some styles, clowns and shark heads, creepy smiles. Let's escape here, grab your files, now let's run, don't waste our whiles. The season had been so fun, creepy cubies make you run. I will end this with a pun, it's Halloween, pun pun pun. Good job, Medications, that was a pretty good poem. The next one is by Chief Blue. So here is his actual story. Chief Blue. I was going to trick-or-treat with my friends, Ben Cubison. So I went to his house because we were going to nap so we can trick-or-treat far into the night. I arrived at his house and once we established we'd just sleep on the couch in the basement, we went to bed pretty soon after that. I woke up and it was dark, so it was time for the trick-or-treating to start. But first, we had to get ready. I went to get Ben. But at the door to the basement, Ben was standing there just facing the door. He didn't look at me, but I could not stop looking at him. After 30 seconds, I said, Ben? He didn't respond. He just looked at me. Faced the door again, and then opened the door, then left the room. I immediately went to follow him, but he disappeared. Then I heard the front door slam, so I then ran outside. I was in a cemetery, which is weird, because the house is in Zombies Town, but I just knew I had to find Ben. So I looked around. There was a lot of graves, of course, but one caught me. I rubbed my eyes. But it was still there on the gravestone. It said Ben Craft Cubison, January 16, 2003 to October 31st, 2018. So that kind of scared me. Then at a point I heard laughter from children in the town, so with any hesitation I ran to there, then I could maybe find help. When I got there, they were dressed up as sub-vampires, ghosts and zombies. They were all standing really still though, but I ran to one kid to ask him where his parents were. But it was a mannequin. I checked the next one and he was like the last. They were all mannequins. And with that I ran back to the house and was going to call 911. And kind of surprised I didn't think to do it sooner. Upon arriving at the house I grabbed my phone, called and waited. They picked up the phone and I said, hello, can you come please, help? I'm in the Cubic Town Centre and the cemetery. But she didn't say anything like a normal officer. She said, why didn't you save him? What do you mean? I said. Ben Cubison, why didn't you save him? I just dropped the phone and thought of the gravestone. I ran outside and Ben was just standing there facing towards me, his back facing the grave, flung himself in the hole, I ran and looked in the grave, and it was just a coffin. Boo! I woke up sweating. Ben woke me with an unfortunate sound. You were screaming in your sleep. I had to wake. He said, what? Oh, it was just a dream. I said, very relieved, though not surprised, since it kind of made no sense. But after that, we got ready and got lots of candy. The end. Okay. The next one is The Phantom Foam Ghost by Forget Me Not. Excuse me. Here is the legend of the Phantom Foam. Once upon a time there was a carpenter. His name was Philip. Cubies around the overworld came to him for building plans and new building inventions he had made. One day one of his clients requested for an invention to make blocks walk-throughable, which Philip was really excited to do. And after a few months he had the solution, which he called Phantom Foam. He gave it to his client and went back to his job, but little did Philip know that his client was going to get stuck in that block forever, for he had given some temporary walk-throughable ones instead of the actual final product. The client died stuck to that block, which sits in the house of the Phantom Ghost graveyard. Legend has it that once you enter the realm there is no escape, just like the client who got stuck in the block. Once upon a time, Halloween in the land of Aspen. Cubies were running around and laughing, going from realm to realm for some candy, or just taking the whole bowl of the takes and one candies. Group of Cubies, Daniel, Bree, Melissa and Rick and Jenna were strolling down the overworld enjoying the Halloween spirit. Anyone have any suckers? Bree asked. I have, Daniel said as he handed a sucker to Bree. Thanks for coming with me, guys. Halloween is always fun with friends. You may be too old for these. I mean, look at us. We are practically 9, but we still do this childish stuff, Melissa said. No problem, Mel. It was fun to find those. I've just lost my place. I've really lost my place. It was fun to find those. Take one bowl and just one whole thing, Rick said. Whoa, guys, look at that realm, Jenna said, and started running to the realm's direction, which the rest followed. Whoa, let's go in and take their candies, Rick said, and jumped in. I don't think this will be a good idea, Bree said, and grabbed a hold of Jenna's hand. Come on, Bree, it will. Wait, not. Shall be fun, Jenna said, as she jumped in while dragging Bree behind her. Let's go, Mel, Daniel said, and jumped in. Right behind you, Melissa said, then jumped in. Mel's POV. I couldn't see anything, so I've done it again. I keep closing the spoiler. I couldn't see anything, so I called out my friends' names. Jenna, Daniel, Bree, Rick, where are you? No reply, only the echoing of my call, so I decided to find them. Bree's POV. Help, I'm stuck. I have been screaming for the past few minutes. I knew this was a bad idea, I thought to myself. Also, is it me or is it hot? A few minutes later, after me screaming again and again, a candle flicked open. Who's there? I said, scared to death. Another candle flicked open, then another and another. Before I knew it, I was right on top of a pool of lava. Daniel POV. I dropped my phone. I need my phone. I couldn't see anything, but I was with Jenna. Started walking forward till I found a wall, but inside of a wall I found a sofa. Oof, I tumbled onto the sofa and hit my head on a table, then the candle flicked open. Jenna POV. As soon as that candle flicked open, I ran towards Daniel. His head had a small cut. I should have listened to Bree. This was a really bad idea. I said, then I ripped a cloth from the sofa and put it on Daniel's cot. Guys, I heard a familiar voice. It was Rick, and he was with Mel. I'm so glad you're okay, Melissa said, and turned on her flashlight on her phone. You had a flashlight on your phone this whole time, Rick said. Yeah, let's talk about that later, Melissa said, and looked for a light switch. Flick! The light got turned on, and we knew where we were. The one and only place everyone told us not to go. The Phantom Ghost graveyard. All eyes were on Rick. You didn't read the realm name, Daniel said angrily. Hey, don't go blaming me. Jenna was the one who wanted to go there, Rick said as he pointed at Jenna. It's not my fault the house was so nicely decorated. Besides, I would have read it if I weren't for Bree. Wait, where is Bree? Jenna said. Oh shoot, I thought she was here. We have to find her and get out of this realm, Mel said, and tried calling her phone. Bree POV. Well, I guess this is my ending, hanging in a cage atop the boiling lava. Ring ring. Oh, Mel is calling. I might be saved. Others POV. Bree, are you there? Mel said worriedly. Mel told Jenna to listen to me next time, Bree said. Then Jenna grabbed the phone and started screaming at Bree. Bree, if we find you, I'm going to give you all the hugs in the world. I'm sorry. It's okay, Jenna, Bree said. Okay, where are you exactly, Jenna said. Let me explain this situation I'm in, Bree said. I'm stuck in a dog's cage on top of boiling hot lava in a really dark room, and the only light source is a few candles. Now stop standing around and help me, Bree screamed at the phone. Do you even know what realm this is? Jenna asked. Yes, it's the Phantom Ghost Graveyard, Bree said. What? How did you know? Jenna screamed at the phone. Before we even got here, unlike you guys, I took the time to read the realm name. Bree point of view. Swoosh! A strong wind raced into Bree's room. Ah, someone help me, Bree said. But the wind was too strong that it blew her phone away from her hand and into the lava. Dang it, I dropped my phone, Bree thought to herself. I'm doomed. Others POV. Bree, are you okay? Bree! Jenna started screaming at the phone again. Shoot, let's find her, Daniel said. Let's split up, it will be faster. Meet up again at the living room after, Jenna suggested. Good idea, keep your phones on, except Daniel. Daniel, you go with Jenna, Mel said. Okay, see you back here later, Rick said, and went on his way with Bree. The wind is still blowing, although I'm surprised about the strong wind inside a room. Like, what on the other side of a giant electric fan? Well, that doesn't matter at the moment. I need to escape. There is no escape, a voice said. What? Who's there? Bree said, scared. I'm sure you would recognise me from the stories passed on from generations of Aspen, the voice said. The voice sounded like it was circling the room, Bree thought. That's because it is circling the room, the voice said. And a bright white light started appearing. Oh, you're the Phantom Ghost, Bree said, and started to panic. Don't eat me, Bree screamed and threw her bunny headband towards the light. Useless, I'm a ghost. I can't be hit, the Phantom Ghost said. What do you want with me? Bree said. I want my revenge. The carpenter Philip did this to me, the Phantom Ghost said, and the lava started to boil. Revenge won't do you any good, another voice said. Jenna, wait up! Geez, you run too fast, Daniel said, while catching his breath, but he looked up and he saw. Gah, ghost, Daniel said, and threw his basketball shoe at it. Now you got one shoe, Daniel. What you playing at? Rick's point of view. Was that Daniel? I asked myself. Sounded like him. I better go check it out. I hurried as fast as I could to find Daniel trying to take off his other shoe. What are you doing, Daniel? I asked. But all he could do was point at the ghost. So it's just a ghost. Call the Ghostbusters, I said. Enough of this nonsense, the Phantom Ghost said. I'm getting my revenge. It's the last thing I'll do. Jenna's point of view. This ghost is really pulling my nerves. Revenge won't solve anything, I shouted at the ghost. Yes, it will. I'll finally free from this place, the Phantom Ghost said, then started to lower the metal cage. Bree, we will help you, Rick screamed, then ran inside the room. Quick, look for things you can use to fight a ghost with, Jenna screamed, but there was a bunch of candles, tables and chairs. Then Mel burst into the room with a vacuum. Bree, the Ghostbusters are here, Melissa screamed, and jumped on the table and sucked the ghost into a vacuum, which was connected into a ghost trap. Can y'all help me now? Bree said as her cage started to lower. They threw Bree the key and let her open the cage. Swing the cage, we'll catch you, Rick said. Think you mean you and Daniel will catch you, Melissa said, and walked away. Okay, fine, we are men, we are stronger than girls anyway, Daniel said, and got ready. Then Bree jumped and was caught by the boys, but the boys tumbled over. Thanks, boys, Bree said, and ran towards Jenna and Melissa. Now let's get out of here, Melissa said. But there is no exit, we are in the Phantom Ghost Graveyard and no escape, Jenna said. Don't worry, while Daniel was acting like a total chicken, I found an exit portal. It's full of traps though. Let's go, Melissa said, and walked off. An hour later they got past the door. Ready to bail this joint, Daniel said. Who cares? Freedom is ours, Rick said, and ran towards the portal. Then the rest followed. When they got out, there were Christmas decorations everywhere. It was snowing. A giant Christmas tree was put up, and carolers were going from realm to realm for simple gifts. All we could think was, how long were we out? You must have been gone a very long time. Okay, the next one is by Mezaz1. QB or not QB? That is the question. Ha ha ha. I get it. Tribute to the upcoming Halloween pack. Shrieks and screams. Welcome to Halloween. In Cubic Castles it's a festive scene. Trick-or-treating from door to door in the town and lobby. Cubies galore. Knock knock, who's there? Little Cubie here. We have come to share with a bag of candies and some jolly hops. We exchanged the goods for wearable tops. We found a door just like the rest, but little did we know this was a test. Boo! There it was, the Cubic Ghost. QB or not QB? Nope, it was a hoax. Once 1,000, but now a few. Little Cubies have dwindled. Many were slew. Oh, Cubeth, what have you done? I thought trick-or-treating is for fun. QB or not QB? That is the question, but we live for candy. That is the mission. QB, Toothbee or Zombie? Which could it be on Halloween? It's impossible to see. And yet, despite it all, just can't help but feel that Cubic Castles is such a steal. Thank you for creating this beautiful game. Happy Halloween. I wish you all the same. That was really good. I really enjoyed that. Be Prepared by Spo_OKY. Halloween has come. Kids, be prepared if you don't want to be jump scared. Hide inside your house. Oh wait, zombies are there. Broke down your wooden door. Well, they don't care. Old wood, squeaky flooring, spiders really creepy crawling. You can't hide. No, it's not in your mind. They are in your realm. If I were you, I'd melt in fear. Come out if you date. Sub-vampires are hiding here. I hear the monsters following me from behind, running now as fast as the wind. QB skulls are everywhere. All I need to do is be prepared. Halloween has come. Kids, be prepared. If you don't want to, be jump scared. Jack-o'-lanterns everywhere and a crude signpost saying, be prepared. Tell me what I need to survive, or maybe I will stay up tonight. I wish there was a button to revive, losing QB hearts from this freaky fright. Halloween has come. Kids, be prepared. If you don't want to be jump scared, boo. I enjoyed that. That was pretty good too. Okay. Here is one by Joystick. Jake, Mary shouted. She was wearing her favourite clothes, toilet paper and vampire teeth. She had minutely put all 7 rolls over her entire body for now 2 exciting and strange hours. Hurry, Jake, she insisted. Calm down, let me put these damn lenses, he replied. Jake was 5 years older than her. He was, like his little sister, putting on his special clothes. Ah, damn it, he said furiously. What happened again? I put my finger in my eye. Mary sighed. Let me help you. This day wasn't like any other. It was a Halloween night. The one, the only. Mary and Jake were 2 children living in Pelago in a modern house. The leaves were falling, rocked by light wind blowing between the half-naked trees. Fresh air wave had fell on the city a couple of minutes ago, making that night typically perfect for that celebration. The moon was bright and illuminating the streets as if it were in the evening. However, no cloud could be seen in the sky, like if the wind pushed them to the next city to make the night perfect for Jake, Mary and the children of their city. Wow, what are you doing? Jake screamed. I can't do it right now, she laughed. The sight of the grand opening eyes of his brother was a horribly funny show. A few minutes later, they were finally ready. A mumpire and a zombie were a part of this team. Pumpkin baskets in their hands, they left their house, hyped like every other Halloween night. They went down their streets, knocking at every door, in quest of the biggest amount of candies. Trick-or-treats went all over the city. After 15 minutes passed in the night, Jake began to feel a pain in his left eye. Is everything all right, Jake? Asked Mary, seeing him scratching his eye. Yes, don't worry, he replied. They were now out for 2 hours. When arriving at the last house, Jake had been scratching his eye more and more since then. The last house was very typical. It seems from a horror movie, but at least some decorations let consider someone was living here. Ugh, I'm a bit scared, Mary almost whispered. I'll knock the door. Stay here. Jake let Mary alone and began to enter the property. His eyes were red and he was still scratching it. He arrived at the door and knocked 3 times. Tock, tock, tock. Trick or treat? Mary was watching him from the street when she saw a tall silhouette opening to Jake. The person did a really quick move in the direction of Jake, who returns back to her. Are you okay, Jake? She said with a shivering voice. He turns back slowly. Jake didn't even finish to turn back. That Mary shouted as hard as she could. She took Jake's hand and started running to get back home. Blood was tearing on the ground. They were both running. Jake did not have a hand on his eye, crying blood. They came back 10 minutes later. Mum, Dad, hurry, Jake is bleeding, she said breathlessly. Jake dropped her hand and faced the ground, coloured in red by himself. He faced Mary, showing his floody eye. It was the scariest thing she had ever seen, a nightmare becoming real just in front of her. Jake opened his mouth. I'm sorry. Mary stared at him, terrified with the creepy show going right on. Jake! Jake! Mary turned back, scared by her parents disguised as creatures. Happy Halloween, they said all together. She looked at Jake, who was wiping the false blood from his face. She now realised that she'd been fooled by an entire family. That night was the most memorable night, as Mary received the 2 things that can make her happy. Tons of candies and a mummy costume she always wanted, bought by her parents the day before. That was a good one. The next one is by Bacon Bits and it's called Eggs and His Zombies. There was once a QB, his name was Eggs. Eggs was very sad because he couldn't make any friends, no matter how hard he tried or how many worlds he ventured to. He was so sad at one point that he was willing to do anything for friends and just wanted someone to talk to. So one day he ventured into a dark forest called the Abyssal Forest. That was when he saw it. He saw someone in the distance, 2 red glowing eyes and 2 horns. It was a demon. The demon saw Eggs and offered him a chance to make friends, but at a price. He would never be able to make a true friend. Egg was so sad he carelessly accepted the demon's offer. The next day he tried to make a friend. When Eggs talked to someone, they became friends, but his friend was like a mindless zombie. It didn't talk, it just did as Eggs wanted to. Eggs was so overjoyed though that he hadn't even noticed. Each time Eggs made a new friend, the demon stole the soul of that child, and eventually the demon could control all of Eggs' friends. When Eggs found out, marched to the demon before it could launch an uprising, and they had an epic battle. The fight ended in Eggs' favour, and the children's souls were released, and they all became Eggs' friends. The end. Eggs and the Zombies. Next one is by Pumpkin. One day I am at my realm. My best friend have to go to the metallic market. I'm watching the TV. After some minutes I make some food because I got hungry. After this I called my friend because it was night. He doesn't respond. I got scared and I tried to call him again. Then my phone turned off automatically. I got more scared. Then I heard the doorbell. I opened the door. There was no one. The doorbell sounds again. There was no one again. Then I heard something from the bathroom. I go there. There was a message. I am coming. I freaked out. I knew my friend would come. Then the lights turned off and I saw one person in front of my eyes. She was a girl, but not a normal one. She got red eyes, black hair and blood on her entire face. She got a knife. She told me to stay here and don't say anything. Then my friends came and they got killed. I knew that's too much and I stole her knife and I killed her. Now I am 20 years old and I still remember this. That's my story. James. Oh, James. James. How sad. How very sad for you. Okay, so the next one is by Mr. Frosty Fish, and it's called Halloween Night. Let's read this. There was a boy playing cubic castles. He had been searching every single place for a zombie head so he can wear as a costume, but one day someone wearing a black mask showed up and said, "Hey boy, I have been following you for too long and I just released that you need a zombie head, so follow me." He suddenly disappeared to be replaced with a fairy in a jug. The curious boy picked the bottle up and ran away back to his realm. It was a tough day, but it also had some suspense of a scary kind. He had no idea what to do with a jug, but he also knew that this was his only hope of getting into his dream item, the zombie head. After many days of thinking, he had no other hope than throwing the jug on the ground, so he did it, and guess what? It did nothing, not even dropped a fairy. He felt hopeless and kept searching for a zombie head that he can buy, but he found nothing, and started to plan about a new costume for this year and found nothing he can afford. So he took a break from cubic castles for a week and came back one day before Halloween to find his real empty of every kind of blocks, except one huge fairy in a jug that was not even solid to be touched. He freaked out and ran to see some friends, but none of them was online. So he was running through all the realms he knew and also found them empty. This moment was really shocking since he was not even able to log out of the game. He was stuck in the game for 6 hours after he realised something out, and it's that huge fairy jug has some very small instruction on it saying, "You're stuck in the jug, no way to escape, nowhere to go, and the only way to escape is finding someone to break your jar." He searched everywhere for one player to help and found no one. Days passed and the boy was still stuck in the game with no clue how to get out. With days passing, the game started to vanish and the darkness started to occupy the game, and the only bright place was the main realm with this poor guy that stood there for a full week and nothing happened. Then he realised that the jar has changed the instructions written on it. Breaking a jar took you inside of it, and breaking another will get you out, but only the jar that could help you will be in the place where no QB will think to open, and where no one have been the time to. He thought about the only Q and had no answer, and the last word was hidden, so the only way to find out is a miracle. And the bottle was changing the instructions daily, and he was understanding nothing till the day when the instruction was, "Breaking me is the worst thing you will ever do, and making sure to respect me is your way to stay." And he hopped to the rules screen where he found the following. "In the middle of the darkness I will be shining, and if you are a pure person you will find me in the deep forest, and if you are not you will die searching for me." He searched every forest mine, and hopped into the forest darkness to find one rare deep forest mine was searching Halloween decoration in a glowing mushroom. So he ran fast to break the mushroom, and suddenly the man with black mask appeared from nowhere and said, "Happy Halloween," while giving the guy 100k and a zombie mask. And finally his name was revealed. Space Fetus was the man in black that wanted to give us small info about how important the rules page was. At the end the guy was back to normal. Life released, that's all time he passed, and the misery was nothing more than an illusion, and that it was not even Halloween yet. And he had the best Halloween of his whole life with all of his friends and loved ones. The end. The next one is by X, and it's called The QB Witch. Deep into the forest where the QB Witch lies, nobody dares to come close, for zombies' heads shall rise. Between the trees, red eyes, slime ponds, each in different size. A forest that was long forgotten, in which many ghosts have rotten. The way that the story goes will make you shiver with fear, so try not to shed a tear. Every night on Halloween, the QB Witch will be seen. With every loud step she takes, a red flame flashes, trees become dirt, and the flowers you took turn to ashes. She will give no warning when the game starts. Run, run, little QB, with a count of 1 to 3. Your only hope you'll have enough time to flee. She will steal your angel wings, as well as your diamond ring. Run, and she will take your items forever. You won't see them again, never. deep into the forest where the QB witch rests. Nobody dares to come close. She doesn't have any guests. It was pretty good. Rogue thing, still writing, and never finished. King Darkness, be careful what you wish for. Okay. Guts and blood was flying everywhere, as if a tornado rammed through him. Brian had his beautiful halo turned into an ugly headlessness. 2 hours before. Whoa. This is intense already. Okay, 2 hours before. Brian, have you heard about the new haunted house? Oh, excuse me. David, yeah, I heard some people saying that 2 people died in that house. Also, they said that no one liked that couple when they were living. People said they heard screams every night before they went to sleep. Then one night, no one screamed, and people found out they killed each other. The police found a note saying, "We'll come to life again and kill anyone that hated us and their kids." Brian, oh wow, that story seems fake if you ask me. David, yeah, maybe, but the story seems kind of true. Brian, let's get off this topic. I want scary stories to be saved at the haunted house. Are you coming? David, yeah, but only going to leave early because I want candy too. Brian, see you there, dude. David, you too, dude. Brian, hey, before you leave, I have something to tell you something. David, okay, what is it? Brian whispers, if there is a clown mask or a monstrous head, please fight them for me. David, alright, I will fight for you. 1 hour late for school. Brian, meet you at the haunted house. David, you too, I can't wait for the candy. 30 minutes later. David, oh wow, it's scary in this house, isn't it? Brian, nah, it really isn't. David, at least I am not scared of a clown mask or a monstrous head. Brian, be quiet. David, haha, fine. Brian, a monstrous head is looking through that window. David, you are right, we have to run outside. Brian, nah, I will just explore more. David, okay, you do that, I am going home. Brian, okay. David, never seen Brian ever since. The next one is by Bon Bongo. Once upon a time there was a village named Elfhood. They had a king named Lord Cubicle and his son Prince Cuberth. They would live happily. One night, Cubicles took a glass of water and saw a slime through the window. So Cubicle sent a knight to see what in there. After a few hours, the knight's still missing, so Cubicle go out there and find his knight. He was shocked. The knight was left in a piece. After a week later, Cubicle has had bad headache and fell from bed. His son Prince Cuberth, shocked of his father, sadly his father was dying. Say his last words, "Don't open the slime gate." But then Cuberth heard a sound of a door knock. So we go there and see there probably no extra door in bedroom. It was strange. Prince Cuberth tried to find the sound source finally. Cuberth saw a shadow of stranger. He said, "I was glad you came finally." Cuberth came close to the shadow and it disappeared. Cuberth heard another knock, but it from his side door. He opened it, and a long neck with a big claw, huge teeth and dark appeared at front of him. The end. Fake snake. Okay. One Halloween night, there were 5 kids that wanted to go camping. The names were QB, Cosmic, Fake, Sir Creeper, Kip, and Anna. They wanted to camp in the deep forest. They thought it would be a great experience, so they went there the next morning, set up their camp, and they were ready to start. The sun was setting, and it was night time. They sat around the fire. We didn't start the fire. Well, no, but someone did. They sat around the fire. I've lost where I am, I'm sorry. Sat around the fire and started telling stories about a man that died in the deep forest and comes at night to get campers out of the forest. And they finished. They wanted to explore the forest. Cosmic went to get the map and the compass, and he came back, so they went there. After they got a long way from the camp, they started hearing voice whispering. "Go back, it's not safe here." They ignored those sounds and kept on going. The sounds were getting louder, so they started running faster. When the sounds stopped, Cosmic said, "I lost the map and the compass." Fake said, "We need to find a shelter." So they kept walking till they found a small wooden house. "I don't feel it's safe here," Anna said. Cosmic, "Nothing bad is going to happen." QB walked to the door, ring the doorbell. No one was inside. He opened the door and they came in the house. They saw 5 beds. "It's late, let's take a nap," Kip said. They slept there for night. When they woke up they saw breakfast on the tables. Cosmic said, "No one was here last night, who made it?" They went out of the house to try and find a way out. They started walking. They kept walking for hours. "It's endless," QB said. "Cosmic, nothing else we can do. We need to keep walking." While they were running, they found a car. "Maybe we can fix it," QB said. He looked inside. "I see a radio," he said suddenly. They see the car door opening. "Headless man coming out," QB shouted. They all start running in fear. The headless man is still following them. QB's fall on the ground. The headless man catches QB, cuts off his head and hung it on a pole. The others managed to escape. He is dead. It's only the four of us now, Cosmic said Anna. I can't believe this is happening right now. Cosmic, calm down, we need to find the exit. They kept walking through the deep forest. This is the 5th time I see this tree. We are walking in circles, Kip said. They keep walking and after a while they find the camp. Cosmic, it's destroyed, all of our stuff is gone. I will check the tents. Then when he enters the tent he sees the headless man sitting there. He cuts off his head too. The others ran away as fast as possible. Then they stopped. They found the compass and map. Cosmic is the only one that knows how to use them, but he is dead, Kip said. I think I can figure out the way out if you just give me a second, Anna said. They sat on the grass. 2 of their friends are dead. We shouldn't camp here in the first place, Kip said. Fake replied. Nothing we can do now. I think I heard something, we need to keep walking. And continued on walking. It's night time. When we need to find a shelter to stay in there for the night, Kip said. I think I can make a shelter out of sticks, Fake replied. He makes the shelter. The next morning, Anna, I figured out the way. Kip, great, let's go. Anna, but there is a problem. We need to go back the same way. Fake, we need to do it. They start walking back. They go across the tents again. Kip goes to bring water from his tent, and they keep on going. Suddenly, the headless man comes out of a bush and gets Kip. Cuts off his head too. Anna and Fake keep running as fast as they can. This way, a strange man says. Fake, what is this place? Stranger, it's my underground shelter. I live here. Fake, why are there monsters here? Stranger, I can't tell you. Fake, okay, do you know the way out? Stranger, yes, but we would have to wait till morning. Fake, why? Stranger, the headless man only attacks at night. Fake, but he attacks us in the morning. Stranger, are you sure? I don't know about that. Let's sleep. The next morning the man leads them to the exit. No one attacks them. 3 died. 2 survived. A lot of questions we didn't find the answers for. The end. The next one is a human in the world. A human in the world. A familiar tap came across my left shoulder. I tilted the watering can downwards, watering the next plot of pumpkin. Tetra, whispered the familiar QB, I'm here to steal your soul. After you've already stolen my heart, you monster, I giggled back as I swiveled clockwise and elbowed the offending QB in the stomach. My watering can fell out of my hands as he slid his hand along my arm, enough to redirect the force of my elbow away from him. I put my hand up to sucker punch his face, but he hugged me, making that near impossible. Instead, I let the head rest on his vampire cloak and wrapped my arms around him. Krieger, what are you doing here? You should be sleeping. Not you, love. We live in the same time zone. I was just... He rubbed the top of my witch's hat. Watering our plants like a good girl. I know. Well, since we're both online, how about we do something fun? I loosened my arm around him, and upon the silent signal, he released me. A wild smile cropped across his face like a chasm, hinting at its depth, but betraying nothing. His eyes opened wide, wider than they were ever meant to be, and the whites of his eyes stood out there from his pale skin, flanked by the shadows of his eyes, disappearing into the fold of his face. There was an electric energy to them, a deep willingness to experience anything and everything, that transfigured my knees into runny blueberry jelly. A haunted house. Tilted my head downwards ever so slightly to glare up at him. His skin temperature dropped a few degrees. We're not to bring in harm ones, or knockback ones, or bombs, or... No, of course not. It's not that kind of haunted house. My eyebrows quirked up an inch. Then what do you have in mind? Something a Mr. Johnson asked of me. Why, it's a trap, I questioned as we stood outside the realm. Here we could talk in relative privacy. Both of us had checked the surroundings with /trade. Isn't that the beginner level parkour course, and it doesn't have a pit of lava at the beginning? There's practically a prerequisite to fall into. Do you want a small spoiler? Yes. It's a trap. He jumped inside, and since I held his hand, I was forced to jump in as well. We did not jump onto the porch of the house, but instead, as our feet passed through the wood of the house, we fell. We fell through the house, like the house was shimmering illusion, hiding the gigantic hole as we passed into. Streams of indecipherable data flew by my head, lighting up the dark expanse around us. As I reached out to touch a particularly fast stream, a white hand grabbed my wrist. Ah ha ha! No cheating, the pesky Krieger teased. You wouldn't want to spoil the fun, would you? I bit my lip, but retracted my right hand. Krieger released my hand, and ran it through his short, thick helmet of hair. Opting not to stare at him, I switched my attention back to the flying bits of code. They congregated below us, mashing together, and at that point infinitely far below us, we could see the familiar haze of dusty grey smoke, before it engulfed us completely. Sharp pain disseminated from my left wrist, which just happened to be the hand holding us. Drew my wrist towards my eyes to find a red band of code searing into my skin. Cried out and loosened my fingers, but determinedly Krieger held on, so the red band of code ensnared his hand as well. His entire QB persona faded in and out of existence. Krieger! He turned to me, and a dark glint came over his eyes. The same Cheshire Cat smile graced his face the moment before. I heard his wrist separate from his arm. Those eyes seemed to hang in the air behind me, observing me, watching me. Even as I drew farther and farther away, he waved me goodbye with his free hand. The red band of data sliced through me like a hot knife through butter, but I could not cry out in pain. Not yet. Staring down at the rapidly approaching ground, I had to think of something fast, and no way to stop my fall, no wings to help me glide to safety. So, trusting a weird tip my martial arts teacher taught me, I opted to fall onto my back. I tucked my head in and rolled my back as I hit the ground. My arms shot out, and my hands slapped the grass as hard as my firewall stat would allow. After the wave of pain to my hands and back passed, I sat up and examined myself. No streams of data were flowing out from me into the environment, but my left hand was definitely gone. I had not packed a heal wand, so until I got back to my realm, I would have to live with it. I had fallen onto a bed of mountain grass. Unlike the lava that normally broke my fall to this realm, I glanced at the cipher deck on my arm, and it indeed read that I was in a realm called It's a Trap, but instead of Sir Kuboth showing up, the owner, it was Sir Krieger. I cursed softly. Darn it, Krieger. Slammed my fist into the ground and grit my teeth. He knew I was running in hot sim, and he put a data spike at the entrance. That poor excuse for a QB. I cleared the table with my arm and tapped on the door icon to leave the realm. But then, he's running a hot sim too, and he doesn't have the extra heart perk, so he's even more damaged than me. And if he's made this a damsel in distress situation... I spat insults into the sky and punched the ground once more. My hand smarted from the blow, but it was nothing compared to the massive amount of pain coming from my left arm stump. But as I lifted my eye to the ghost wandering around what could only purposely set of stones, I smiled. The circle of stones would inevitably lead down towards either a puzzle or a parkour, both of which would certainly have a reward at the end. I shook my head, but still I stretched my legs out for a run. A shadow run. Darn it, Krieger. Why do you make everything so interesting? Okay, the next one is by Pauline Insel. It's called The Emotions Game. Here we go. The Emotions Game. On October the 31st, 2018, 12 PM midnight, we visited New Man's Realm to celebrate his birthday. When we arrived at his house, we played a game called the Emoticon Game. New Man, here are the rules. You'll get a prize and a prize dispenser. The dispenser is containing 5 items. Chocolate bar, cobweb, witch hat, pumpkin, and a skull head. When you get the chocolate bar, you are a happy QB, meaning you can't make any emoticons other than happy. When you get the cobweb, you are the sad QB. When you get the witch hat, you are the angry QB. When you get the pumpkin, you are the killer, meaning you will catch all the QBs who violated the rules. Once you catch a QB, the QB will be dead or out of the game. When you got the skull head, you are the fake killer. You can convince the QBs that you are the killer, not the pumpkin. Do your part or you die. Before we end the game, we should say, may the souls of the QBs be normal. Before the start of the game, we chant, may the souls be with us 3 times. After that, we start the game. It was going well until someone knocked the door. Captain Abs opened the door, then we saw a ghost, so we all panicked and ran away from the house. The thing that we did not know is that we didn't end the game. After an hour, Mr. Granicus died. We are clueless about the death of our friend, but Newman said that maybe the game is the reason of his death. We all disagreed, until I got my turn. I was walked down the lobby, and then Happy Emoticon Ghost showed in front of me. I panicked, but remembered that I have to follow the rules, so I made my face happy. Then the ghost disappeared. That was the time when I realised that we should play the game again, hoping that this will end. So I called everyone, and we met in New Man's realm. Before I go to his realm, I bought 5 ghost traps and an echo containment. Went to his realm and I saw them gathering around. I prepared the items I will use, and we started the game. Kept on smiling, the killer kept looking at us. Then Lulicon pointed, capped Abs, and said, "You are the killer." Then they Lolinone died, meaning Lolinone pointed the fake killer. That is why he died. So I pointed Newman and said, "You are the killer." And Newman died. Captain Abs and I chanted, "May the soul of QB be normal." Then the 5 ghost trappers catch ghosts at the same time. Then we put the ghosts in the echo containment. We saw 5 ghosts. Then the game ended. We will visit them at the cemetery at All Saints' Day. This next one is by Mr. Shark. You were trick-or-treating a Halloween night, and then you spotted a Turkish delight. It laid in the graveyard so close and near, you stepped inside, startled with fear. You walked past headstone, and then past fence. This trick-or-treating had gotten far too intense. The tension was thickening up in the air. The voices in your head whispered, "Beware, beware. Just want to get out of this living nightmare." You look in the distance and made out a figure. You held out your gun, clutching the trigger. Ready to fight, ready to attack, you felt a hand crawl down your back. It wasn't just a zombie, not even 2, there was a whole army ready to eat you. You dashed, you hid, and started to cry. You knew at this point you were destined to die. Zombies groaned with hunger and ripped you apart. They snacked on your brain and munched on your heart. Well, that was pretty terrifying. pretty damn terrifying. But it's okay. I'm okay. Darts HD. It was a dark night. A drip of blood comes rolling down off my cubey finger. Ouch, I screamed. I must have gotten a cut, I suppose. Not knowing what is happening, it's way worse. I turned to my friend, Tester #1. I asked him, "Hey, where are we going?" He shot me a confused look. "We're lost in the dark forest in Forestitia. Cubica," I screamed as I stepped on a branch. Then a faint footstep was heard. We weren't sure who or what it was. Someone tapped me on the shoulder. My mind went blank. I was so scared, so I started to panic. Turning around, I heaved a sigh of relief. It was Juniper. She was also lost, as she had followed us earlier to find a secret orb. We almost forgot about her. "Hey, do you need a band-aid?" Pulling out her backpack. "Thanks," I replied. "We need to find the witch who is causing the overworld damage with this orb," I explained to them, as they were confused why we were in the forest. "Ow," Tester replied. A faint howl can be heard as we ventured through the dark cemetery, not far from the forest. "Is that blood?" I squealed, along with both of them. Not far away I saw the witch's hut. "We're here," I exclaimed with adrenaline in my veins. Lightning roared from the dark swirly sky. My breathing got heavier as crows were flying around. Inside was empty, had cubies hanging everywhere. I was creeped out. We heard a faint witch sound. "Today Cubit Castle should be mine. I will have all the cubits," she laughed. I was so scared. I didn't want such an awesome game to end. I said to myself, I have to save Cubit Castles. I walked, and soon enough I was alone. Neither Juniper nor Tester is with me. I smelled cheese. "It's Tester," I thought to myself happily, only to find out that his pizza face is bitten in pieces. Blood can be seen flowing out. Not long I heard a girl scream. "Juniper!" I chased a scream. I stopped to find a lifeless cubie on the floor. Pumpkins started appearing with glistening eyes, and the creaky wood started to break apart. When I fell to the basement, the witch came in front of me and said, "Silly Darts, the cut is the reason you're here. You are the chosen cubie to help me finish my ingredients for the orb which will take over Cubit Castles." My heart pounded like never before. I perspired. I can barely notice anything besides a figure of a spider brain and a witch's hat. The witch continued, "Well, well, it's the very end. Say bye-bye, Cubit Castles." I noticed a shrink one behind. "It's not over yet." I shrinked the witch and knocked down her cauldron. Tester and Juniper were revived, just like magic. We were teleported back to the lobby, and we can see Halloween decorations and cubies cheering happily. We saved Cubit Castles. The next year she stroked again. This time her hideout is hard to find. "Team QB 101, it's up to you now," an announcement flowed through the speaker. Mr. Tester and Juniper went for the quest. We searched high and low for the witch hut, but just no avail. Then I heard a loud bang. One from a Dorkmobile, I suppose. There the witch came with the orb. I screamed. She had done it. I cried. Tester and Juniper were panicking. She had put her possessed altar to start the process. "No," I squealed. She took the necromancer wand and raised it high. I just wanted it to end, so did Tester and Juniper. Panicking, I threw a potion at the altar. A paper flew. It was the tag, "Melt Potion." Tester cheered. The altar melted like the smile on the witch's face. "Today she has ended the time I had a harm wand, and shot her 3 times, and ended her at the spot. I made out a chant for that day to mark the day we ended her good. Witch, or did you? Mwahahaha. Will the witch ever harm us again? Only time will tell." From that day the QB chanted at the 31st of October, oh witch, please stay away, let Cubit Castles live another day, for you have had a huge mistake, destroying Cubit Castles every chance you take. Not to mention or not to fear, I hope that your decision is near. Not to cry or not to worry, just hope that you are sorry. It has been a story that has been told, your heart was evil and cold. Hope that you will learn and see the light, so we can sleep well tonight. Today marks the day of the time you had sent threats to cubies which with nice clothes and hats. Hope you will know what's right, so we cubies don't need to fight. In this night the day commenced, the heroes who saved our land, destroy or not, we cubies will remain hand in hand. When the witch decided to come back, she heard this chant, and she swore that she will stop her hunt. From this day she stayed away. Here is CD87s, which is a cut version of chapter 6 of his CC fanfiction. Yeah. Enlightening the future. Where am I? The reporter opened his eyes. A pitch black path with a few dots of light. He was running away for hours and hours, but he stumbled and fallen into a bottomless pit, which apparently led him to this place. He was a reporter working for a mining company, and his recent discovery was why he was chased. He held the treasure in his hands, tightly, along with a harm wand on his left hand, shaking as he was. He took a deep breath and ready for anything that would come. Suddenly a chant was heard. We are here tonight, for the darkness we thrive. We turn off the lights, for the darkness we dive. He silently pointed at the sound, then he fired. The sparks sounded from the wand and quickly disappeared, but it somehow stopped the chant. Now it was not the chant that scared him, but it was the footsteps. Acting carelessly, how silly against his will this Cubie. A cubinoid figure stood in front of the reporter, black robe, black glasses, and a plague doctor mask hiding his identity. Without a doubt, he knew that this one threat going after him. What are you going to do to me? The man stutters. Afraid not, you little weakling. After all, your gentle darling, you'll be mine, a figure, nothing all but a picture. He snaps his fingers. 10 paintings glowed across the big room. They all depicted familiar faces. They were his friends. What have you done to them? Why are they here? His anger now overlapped his fear. He moved his milky body closer, giving the silent figure an aggressive look. In a flash, he shot the man at the front. Suddenly, the bullet passed through the ghostly body. Crack. His wand broke. You weakling, you are overwhelmed. Be quiet in his secret realm. The doctor, hinting him to look at the statue behind him. A similar figure. In his time. It's a white statue with a white robe and an umbrella. He stood shook for a few seconds, then slowly asked, Wait, why is he here? Isn't this... The doctor nodded his head as if he agreed with the reporter. Then he pointed at him, threatening. This time I found you not, but soon I will. Next time I find you, yes, then shall I kill. The man snapped his fingers, this time putting everything into darkness. The reporter woke up. Brother, I finished decorating my area. How's yours? Yep, all done. We're ready to open the course again, he replied, after writing something on the fake tombstone. But why are you decorating the course like a temple? The girl asked curiously. The boy was silent for a while and then gave out his answer. Because we are here tonight, for the darkness we thrive. We turn off the lights, for the darkness we dive. Oh, what's that supposed to mean? The girl said. It's a chant, something I just came up with a few minutes ago. What's that for then? I have no idea, but it sounds fun. You really have much free time for such nonsense, brother, the girl laughed. Heck, if I ever had a clan that built a temple worshipping me, the poem would be the anthem. Seriously, brother? Who knows? Gave his sister a smile, then lights up the last candle in the realm. It was nice. I enjoyed it. Right, what do we have next? We have one by Luis Almeida. And it's called The Chronicles of Zikron and Chaim. And this story takes place in Cuban castles, which I think is cubic castles. Once upon a time, in a prosperous kingdom with plenty of magic, where several species of beings live, such as fairies, dwarves, elves, dragons, goblins, ogres, giants, angels, demons, and humans. Among others that will appear in the story, we will see who will be the hero in it. In the year 476 AD, the beginning of the Middle Ages begins. I, Zikron, a young black-haired boy, was born in a parallel world where creatures lived. As a curious being, I decided to look for more information about that world. One of the people of a nearby village told me that there was a college of magic. Then I asked for the help of a guide who was actually a student of the beginning of this magic school. That's when I started my journey with Chaim, the student I mentioned. The arrival at the School of Magic approached. Hardly knew what would happen after the arrival, and camouflage of a student beginner. Coming to school, that by itself was huge. Stopping to curl up, let's start the story of how I became a high-class magician. Chaim and I began to study magic and train day and night, and every day I collected more information about that world. Some did not know any more than I lost my memory, so I do not know how much about myself. Going back to the main story, it's been 2 years since I arrived in that world. Chaim and I are already well-known magicians, so we decided to start a journey on the marches to a kingdom far from the province. The kingdom was of demons, and we had to talk to their prince, since he wrestled with the angels, so that we could learn demon magic. That prince decided to help us, but on one condition. Help us meet the princess of the angels. They hardly knew they loved each other very much. Ironic, but it's totally true. So the deal was made that when we started learning demon magic, and with each passing day we got stronger, the angels and demons were about to start a war between themselves, which would have made the couple have to fight. The war began a bloody battle, the prince fighting against the angels and the princess against the demons. She was hit. Graverment, her death was already decided. The prince, furious and sad, ran and crying and held her. She said, "Do not try, our destiny is in your hands. End this war and unite them." Chaim and I saw the event and decided to help with an old magic that gives huge healing that could save the princess. And that's where we started. He and I played the magic in it, began to float in the air, while the magic was taking effect. The princess was saved, and the demon prince and princess angel rebelled against the two kingdoms and joined me and Chaim, and fought against the two kingdoms. In great chaos, the king and queen decided to flee, so the couple lived happily. The war was over. The princess taught us an angelic magic of creation. That was where we returned to our journey. The holidays were over and Chaim returned to the Magic Academy for the learning tournament. A few days passed and the tournament started. We started fighting with a pair that used element of fire and electricity. We used creative techniques that made a maze with magic traps, and we waited for them inside to use this elemental magic that would detonate them. The defeat of them already was certain. We became very strong. When they arrived, we started the plan and used a spell called Elemental Hunter, a mixture of elements that became a beast that absorbs elements. It was the one that defeated the mages and won the tournament. Since the tournament was one per day every week, the master of the magicians and directors of the school gave me a chance to remember who I was through a magic called Remembrance of the Gods. That's when I remembered that I was a semi-god of creation who ended up escaping from a holy war, and I was hit and I ended up opening a dimension, and I stopped in the world old. That's how I, Zychron, and Chaim became high-class mages. That was interesting, although it has absolutely nothing to do with Cubic Castles. Saying it's set in Cubic Castles doesn't make it true, but it was interesting. Misconception. What have you written for us? Second to last story. We're on the final hurdle. I'm sure no one is still listening to us. If you are, you're crazy. This is long. The Cubic Clan. It was a Halloween evening. The kids, all in kind of Halloween costumes, gathered around. However, Mick seemed not dressed up for this event. In casual shirt and pants, Mick walked around the neighbour. Suddenly, a mummy coming from nowhere jumped on him. "Stop your nonsense game, Enna," Mick gruffed. "You are so boring, Mick," Enna laughed. "Why don't you put on your costume?" Mick looked at Enna. He was now covered with white fabric. The rounded rectangle face was hidden behind the cloth, and the eyes were intently painted with some kind of black powder. "Just see yourself in the mirror. You look like someone used too much mascara and has cried for 10 hours or so," Mick frowned. "I hate going around wearing all these stupid-looking costumes and playing the dumb candy asking trick-or-treat game." "Well, you don't get it, Mick," Enna refuted. "It's a tradition of Cubit Land. We dress in the super scary costumes to scare away demonic spirits." "Guess I don't need the stupid clothes to prove my bravery," Mick said. "Then prove it." A boy just passed by them, stopped, and at the same time some kid followed him. "Prove your bravery by sneaking into the Great Witch's castle and bring back a poison potion." "Then watch me," Mick assured. Mick decided to walk around the castle and found a window open. He climbed through the window and entered a room. It was dark, but thanks to the light of the hallway he managed to see. He found a purple liquid bottle on the bookshelf. "Well, that looks like a poison potion," he heard a voice behind him, and nearly shocked. "How you got here, Enna?" Mick whispered. "Just like you, through the window," Enna said. "I was worried about you, so I followed you. Look what I found on the table." Enna opened her hand and mixed her a couple of star biscuits. He was really hungry as he had not eaten anything for dinner. Mick took a bite and suddenly, boom, his head turned into a shark head. "Oh my god, your head, Mick! What happened to your head?" Enna screamed. Hearing noises, the Great Witch slowly walked into the room. Looked at Mick. He said, "Hello, two strangers. How did you get into my castle?" "I am so sorry. I sneaked into your home. I have eaten one of your cookies and now my head has turned into a shark head," Mick said. "Please return my head." "Well, that's easy, but I need one ingredient." The Great Witch waved his wand. A music box flew from the cable and began to sing a song. "Little, little, my little boy, step into the land of souls. Go straight, find the Reaper, bring back an ultimate candy, round with the rainbow colour before the first light tomorrow or forever in this form." The music box then turned into a chest. "You can find what you need in that chest," the Great Witch said, and again waved his hand. The bookshelf then turned into a gate. Mick opened the chest and found inside a bottle of milk and a bottle of olive oil. He told Enna, "You should come back home." "No, Mick, I can help you. I will be careful. Don't worry," Enna responded. "Thanks, Enna, a lot. I am sorry for being rude to you previously," Mick said. Enna nodded and smiled, then stood in front of the gate. The edges of the gate were made of steel, cold and grey, but inside looked like a glowy pink gel curtain. They took a deep breath and stepped inside. Follow the main path. Mick and Enna found the castle of the Reaper. In the ballroom, the Reaper in his black coat holding his scythe looked so sad. "Good evening, the Reaper," Mr. Mick greeted. "We are from Cubic Land. We've come here to collect an ultimate candy. Do you know how we can get one?" "Well, I have one," the Reaper responded, "but you don't get something for nothing. You have to do me a favour. I lost my spider pet. There are so many ghosts on Halloween night, so I can't find him. Bring him back to me then, I'll give you the candy." Mick and Enna agreed, but how will they find the spider? A black cat slowly approached them. She looked at Mick. "I overheard your conversation with the Reaper. I can help you, but can I have the milk you're holding?" She then took Mick and Enna to a small path. "Just follow this path to the forest and you'll find a cavern mine. In the middle, the spider is hiding in it." Mick and Enna thanked her and gave her the milk. Following the cat's instructions, the two friends quickly found the cave. Mick picked a stick. He explained, "I hate catching a spider with my bare hands," and then they entered. It was dark inside. The only light was from the purple crystals. "These crystals are beautiful, Mick," Enna picked some up. It was complete darkness around them. They heard some movement sounds coming from somewhere. They tried to run to the nearest crystal and found a big spider chasing them. "Gosh, the Reaper forgot to mention his pet is huge," Enna screamed. "What do we do now?" "I got an idea," Mick stopped. "Give me a long strip of cloth." "Thankfully, I decided to be a mummy," Enna said. Mick wrapped the cloth around a stick, poured the olive oil on it, and lighted the torch with the lava inside the mine. Fearing of the fire, the spider decided to move backwards. How can we catch this giant spider? Mick feared. We're running out of time. We need to find his house, Enna said. It looks like a small box. That's how we get a pet in Cubit Land. Great idea, Mick responded. You just saved my life. It didn't take long to find the house, brought the spider back, and received the candy. Returning from the Land of Souls, Mick gave the Great Witch the candy. Just by waving the wand, he returned Mick his normal head. Wait, you don't need the candy, the Great Witch, Mick nearly cried. Actually, I don't. I just wanted to teach you a lesson. And I have an ultimate candy for the town event now, he laughed. Mick and Enna together returned to the neighbour. Well, it seems Halloween is not so boring, Enna asked. Yes, indeed it's not, Mick burst out laughing. The end. I really enjoyed that one as well. That was really good. And here is Mr. Denny's Halloween story. The final Halloween story of the video. It is cold and dark night in the world of Cubic Castles. The devs have been preparing for the Halloween night at the end of the month, so everything is a bit more spooky. At one of the realms there walks a small slime around, just playing around with everyone and being his funny self like always. Wait a minute. I've read this one. Mr. Denny, this isn't your Halloween story. This is Elemental God's Halloween story. Okay. In that case, there is no story by Mr. Denny. So yeah, that's the last of the stories. I hope you guys enjoyed them. Stay tuned for the next segment of the video where we will announce the winners. Oh my god. Who could have won? Let's find out. Okay, so our winners in no particular order is Jack Fury for his great poem, Graceful Thunder for her Art Witch story, which was possibly my favourite story of all, Misconception for the story about how he received a shark head, Kunshu for the Pumpkin Slime story. I also really enjoyed that one. And lastly, Cubic Game Master 2 for his Cubie's Halloween Night poem, which was a great poem also. So congratulations guys, you will win Black Muse, Mew Mew Mews, and I hope you enjoy them. And I hope everyone else enjoyed the event. You all did really well, and I'm all very, very proud of all of the results and all of the entries. So congratulations everyone.